entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Before we start this show, let me make it very, very clear. If you love me, Sid Rosenberg, and you love Sid and Friends in the Morning, if you're with her, you are not with me.
I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in brokering the historic Abraham Accords. Like Americans, Israelis were relieved that President Trump emerged safe and sound from that dastardly attack on him, dastardly attack on American democracy. There is no room for political violence in democracies. I also want to thank President Trump for all the things he did for Israel, from recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, to confronting Iran's aggression, to recognizing Jerusalem as our capital and moving the American embassy there.
Now what she's doing is she's running away from Israel. She refuses to go to Bibi Netanyahu is in Washington. She refuses to be there. Even if you're against Israel or you're against the Jewish people, show up and listen to the concept. But she's totally against the Jewish people. And it amazes me how Jewish people will vote for the Democrats when they're being treated so disrespectfully and badly. Amen. It amazes me. It's shocking. I don't get it. I don't get it.
The director of the FBI testified before the House Judiciary Committee with new details about the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump at a campaign rally over a week ago. ABC obtained new body camera footage. Parts are blurred because of the graphic nature of the scene. It shows more of the chaotic moments after the shooting. You can see officers racing up a ladder on the side of the building where they discover the shooter's body and shell casings.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
FBI Director Christopher Wray says the shooter flew a drone about 200 yards from the rally venue. It was in the air for about 11 minutes. He also confirmed 2 explosive devices were in the shooter's possession, one in his car, one in his home. After analyzing his computer, investigators found the shooter searched details about the Kennedy assassination. Wray says they have not yet found a motive.
Tell me about the drone. You act like you wanted to fill us in on that. Fill us in.
So we have recovered a drone that the shooter appears to have used. It's being exploited and analyzed by the FBI lab. The drone was recovered in his vehicle. So at the time of the shooting, the drone was in his vehicle with the controller. In addition, our investigation has uncovered.
Do you know what time of day he flew it, and if he flew it on the day of the shot?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So in addition, it appears that around 3:50 p.m., 4 o'clock in that window, on the day of the shooting, that the shooter was flying the drone around the area.
2 hours.
About 11 minutes. I want to be clear, but when I say the area, not over the stage and that part of the area itself, but I would say about 200 yards, give or take, away.
Okay.
From that, we think, but we do not know. So again, this is one of these things that's qualified because of our ongoing review, that he was live streaming, viewing the footage from that, again, about 11 minutes in around the 3:50, 4 o'clock p.m. range.
2 hours before, he's flying a drone in the vicinity of the rally.
About 200 yards away, yes.
200 yards, okay.
One of the things that I can share here today that has not been shared yet is that we've just in the last couple of days found that from our review, to your point about devices, analysis of a laptop that the investigation ties to the shooter reveals that on July 6th, he did a Google search for, quote, how far away was Oswald from Kennedy? And so that's a search that obviously is significant in terms of his state of mind. That is the same day that it appears that he registered for the Butler rally.
You know, I was supposed to be nice. They say something happened to me when I got shot. I became nice. And when you're dealing with these people, they're very dangerous people. When you're dealing with them, you can't be too nice. You really can't be. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to be nice. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Trump.
President Biden is now vowing to finish the job that he started over the next final 6 months of his presidency. Also, he took time to praise Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee, after endorsing his vice president to lead the ticket. The president surrounded by his family as he expressed his gratitude for a job he called, quote, the privilege of my life. President Biden delivering an emotional address to the nation, explaining for himself why he dropped out of the race.
It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think it's more important than any title.
The president saying that while he believes his record, leadership, and vision all merited a second term, it became clear that he needed to step aside to unite his party.
Nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
Biden laying out what he believes is at stake in the upcoming election.
America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division.
And the president putting his support behind his vice president, Kamala Harris, for the top of the ticket.
She's experienced. She's tough. She's capable.
Oh, shut up.
She's been an incredible partner to me.
Yeah.
And a leader for our country.
She's a bimbo.
With President Biden passing the torch, Harris on the campaign trail in Indianapolis with this salute and an appeal to voters.
He has extraordinary determination and profound compassion for the people of our country. With your support, I am fighting for our nation's future.
And during his address, President Biden also looked ahead to the next 6 months of his presidency. He said he's going to be focused on lowering costs for Americans, on abortion and voting rights, and on stopping political violence. And a heartfelt handwritten message posted on X by the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. It says, to those who never wavered, to those who refused to doubt, to those who always believed, my heart is full of gratitude. Thank you for the trust you put in Joe. Now it's time to put that trust in Kamala.
If Kamala will lie to you so brazenly about Joe Biden's mental incapacity, then she will lie to you about anything. She can never, ever be trusted. She can't be trusted. And just like crooked Joe Biden, Kamala Harris is unfit to lead. She's unfit to lead. She'll destroy our country. In a year, this country will be destroyed. A vote for Kamala is a vote for 4 more years of dishonesty, incompetence, weakness, and failure. Other than that, she's doing an excellent job.
Well, I couldn't think of a better song to start today's program on this Thursday morning than ELO, Evil Woman. What a great way to start after what was an unbelievable news day yesterday. Unbelievable news day yesterday. Really 4 major political stories. It was such a big news day yesterday that based on a time issue, because eventually you folks yearn to hear my voice, I couldn't even include another major story, which was 5 home runs and a 4-game season sweep by the Mets over the Yanks. Now, I'm not at WFAN anymore. I'm not going to go into whether the Yankees should fire Aaron Boone. It's a stupid conversation because they won't. Let Sal do that. Let Brandon Tierney do that. Let Mike Francesa do that. Let Evan Roberts do that. I'm not going to do that. First of all, Steinbrenner's not going to fire him. So they're going to die at the end of this year like they've done the last 3 years, and that's going to be that. But I'll tell you something, folks. If the Major League Baseball season ended today, believe it or not, the Mets, who started the year 0-5, and even I was guilty of saying they may be one of the worst teams in baseball. If the season ended today, the Mets would be in the playoffs. That is unbelievable considering what we were saying back in April. Right now, the 2 wildcard teams in the National League are the Braves and the Mets, just ahead of teams like St. Louis, San Diego, Arizona, and Pittsburgh. And the Mets start a big 4-game series against the Braves today. So I left that out. You want to fire Boone? Yeah, I know you want to fire Cashman. I mean, if you really want to have an honest and intelligent conversation about the Yanks, it's not the manager. It's the GM. He's the architect. He builds the team. Is it Boone's fault that Stanton always gets hurt? Is it Boone's fault that Garrett Cole can't get anybody out anymore? No, that's not Boone's fault. So if you want to have an intelligent conversation, it starts with the GM, not the manager. But, again, that's WFAN. We've got so much stuff to discuss today, much more important stuff. 4 major events yesterday. We started with the FBI Director Christopher Wray testifying on the Hill. Then at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, Bibi Netanyahu addressed Congress. You know, Bibi Netanyahu at this point owns the record, talking about baseball, most addresses for a foreign leader in Congress. Yesterday was his 4th, so he's now one ahead of Winston Churchill. So Bibi at 2 o'clock. Then you had President Trump, and you heard a lot of Trump mixed in that open. His first rally since Biden dropped out in North Carolina. And then you had the President of the United States, Joe Biden, wasting all of our time at 8 o'clock last night, telling us nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. God forbid Biden tells the truth. Like, folks, I didn't want to drop out. I think I'm doing a great job. He said that, which is nonsense. And I'd like to do more, but they're making me leave. Of course, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. He offered zero explanation as to why he was forced out of the race. He did not voluntarily drop out. He is effing furious. He is pissed with a capital P. He said all the right things last night, but it was phony. It was information-less, and I wanted to like it, and I wanted to wish Biden a nice farewell, but he made me nauseous again last night. You know what I'm saying, Norm?
It's exactly what we thought it was going to be. He was going to say it's that don't pick Donald Trump because that'll be an attack on democracy. And then he would talk about how great it was for the 4 years he was in office and how great it would be if they chose Kamala Harris.
No, you're right. You're right. It was what we thought it was going to be. But, you always have this hope. It's kind of like when players get interviewed on TV and managers, and they always give you the same nonsense. Aaron Boone. After getting swept by the Mets, we're right there. What do you mean you're right there? The last 2 months, you have the worst record in baseball. You're not right there. So you hope once in a while somebody's honest. Then when they are, we still complain. I understand that, but you hope they're honest. So I was still holding out hope at 8 o'clock last night watching Brett Baer and Martha McCallum, who's not very good. I used to love Martha. She's not very good. I mean, she stumbles and mumbles, and half the time I have no idea what team she's on. I'm also sick of Harold Ford Jr. You know, I saw Ford in Milwaukee, and we actually had a very nice hello, because I know Harold for years from the Imus show. But it's the same crap with him, too. He's a Democrat. He tries his best because he's on Fox News to not be, too Democrat, but his true colors show every time. I knew after Biden's speech last night, Harold Ford Jr. would say, great speech, and he did. And then, thank God, Dana Perino and the real folks said, what a bunch of nonsense. It was garbage. So I was hoping, Noam, to your point, that we would get something more honest. But again, to your point, we got what we thought we would get.
Yeah, I mean, we're 3 months away from, 4 months away from Election Day. You're only going to get nonsense now.
That's it. I mean, here's Kamala Harris, or Kamala, however you say her stupid name. She's at a sorority in Indiana, her sorority, where Netanyahu is speaking. She boycotted the speech. It's not that she had other plans. You don't think she could have canceled? Hey, guys, since now I'm running for president and Bibi's here, first time in 9 years, I'll come back to the sorority next week. She had no intention of doing that. She boycotted Bibi's speech. She can't stand Israel. She hates the Jews. And yet, Lizzie Savetsky comes into studio a couple of days ago, 380,000 followers, mostly rich Jews on the Upper East Side. She shows a tremendous amount of courage, and says, I'm voting for Trump. And you got to see on the Instagram page what these Jewish people are saying to Lizzie. You're disgusting. You disappointed me. I hope your daughters don't get raped.
Oh, what?
I swear
Seriously?
to God, I swear to God on my father. What? These are Jews. What? This is not Rashida Tlaib. These are Jews. Jews, my own people, are disgusting.
Wow.
Democrat Jews are disgusting. This is what they're saying to Lizzie Savetsky because she made the right decision. She made the right decision. And Trump said it best at his rally in North Carolina last night. We'll play it again. If you're a Jew and you vote for this party, you are an absolute disgrace. Cut number 19.
Now what she's doing is she's running away from Israel. She refuses to go to Bibi Netanyahu is in Washington. She refuses to be there. Even if you're against Israel or you're against the Jewish people, show up and listen to the concept. But she's totally against the Jewish people. And it amazes me how Jewish people will vote for the Democrats when they're being treated so disrespectfully and badly. It amazes me. It's shocking. I don't get it. I don't get it.
And here was Bibi bending over backwards yesterday, bipartisan. He thanked Biden a bunch. Now, mind you, he thanked Biden for showing up. That was it. There was nothing else. No, I'm sorry. He also thanked Biden for sending the 2 warships. But outside of that, there was nothing specific that he thanked Biden for. And he took a shot at Biden when he quoted Winston Churchill, and he said, give us the tools faster. That was a shot at Biden. Trump, he started listing all the great things that Trump did. Not even close. He mentioned 4 or 5 things that Trump did for the state of Israel. He mentioned really 1.5 for Biden and took a shot at Biden. So it was pretty clear from his speech yesterday who was the better president to Israel and the Jewish people. Is that fair to say, Noam?
Well, for sure. That's what he's a Trump fan. We've known that for a long time, so wasn't shocked to hear that from him.
Did he say anything that was wrong, though?
I don't think so, no. I mean, he talked about moving the embassy to Israel and a number of other things.
Yeah, because he did. In fact, here it is, Lou. This would be cut number 16. Bibi Netanyahu listing some of the things that Donald Trump did for Israel, and yet my Jewish brethren out there, not listening to me, of course, not listening, but maybe somebody can give them a message. These morons still voting for Democrats. Here's Netanyahu on what Trump did.
I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in brokering the historic Abraham Accords. Like Americans, Israelis were relieved that President Trump emerged safe and sound from that dastardly attack on him, dastardly attack on American democracy. There is no room for political violence in democracies. I also want to thank President Trump for all the things he did for Israel, from recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, to confronting Iran's aggression, to recognizing Jerusalem as our capital and moving the American embassy there.
So there's a bipartisan Bibi. I didn't play this stuff about Biden because I think he had to do it just to show faith and good face. Biden's a creep. He has not been pro-Israel. But Bibi thanked them both. You would think that would have been good enough for some people. Yet. That old witch, that old corrupt witch who's made a fortune of money on inside trading, I can tell you that. Nancy Pelosi, she comes out yesterday after Bibi's speech and tweets that was the worst speech for a foreign dignitary ever. And you're going to say, well, what do you expect her to say? Not that. The worst speech ever. He thanked Democrats time and time again, even though the Democrats have shoved their fingers up Israel's ass. So why would Nancy Pelosi go as far as saying that was the worst speech ever? Help me, Noam.
It's all about November, right? She's San Francisco. For sure, her constituents will feel the same way. They're not Bibi Netanyahu fans. And the Democrats are in a terrible position when it comes to the war in Gaza because you have the Jewish vote that they want desperately and is normally pretty reliable. But then you have the pro-Palestinian, the younger voters. And so if you have Nancy Pelosi coming out and hitting back hard, she doesn't really pay the price for it. She's still likely, if she runs for re-election, she'll get re-elected.
Oh, please.
But I'm just talking about what the calculation.
Re-election.
But I'm telling you what the calculation is.
No, I know, you're right.
And the calculation is by not having Kamala Harris there is that you don't have video of her sitting behind Bibi Netanyahu that the left can watch.
Right.
And if she meets with Bibi Netanyahu, it's a calculation that may not work out. But if she meets with Netanyahu today and they hug and kiss, she met him, then the Jewish voters are happy.
No, they are happy because they're stupid. I want to see public support, not some closed-door meeting. She won't do public support because she doesn't want to piss off Rashida Tlaib and these morons in Minnesota and
Michigan.
And, of course, Michigan.
Yeah.
I mean, where are the Democrats this morning? They defaced, they desecrated our monuments. Yesterday was no different than January 6th. That was an insurrection. Painting Hamas is coming with a heart on a monument, burning American flags, taking down American flags and raising the flags of Palestine. I can make a very good argument, and I'm very smart, that yesterday was worse than January 6th. Not a peep from these effing Democrats. Not a peep. They're quick to malign Bibi, criticize his speech. What about these animals outside that were protesting? Not a peep from these guys, no. Not one word.
No. And you won't hear a word from them.
Well, how is that okay?
Because they just know, they think the news cycle will sort of sweep this away and people will forget about it. That's what they think. And they might be right.
Well, there is nothing to sweep away because outside of Fox News, nobody talked about it. I mean, thank God for Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity and all those guys. Nobody talked about it.
Right, but of course, Fox is playing to an audience that isn't going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway.
Right. Well, how do you know? Why is Harold Ford Jr. on there?
Well, they have to have the one guy they can beat up. And
I guess. They don't even beat him up. They're scared of him, it looks like.
Are they? Yeah.
I think so. Gutfeld tries to be funny. He's annoying. He's an idiot. All right, we got a huge show coming your way, huge show. My cousin Norm Coleman, who, of course, was the mayor of St. Paul, Minnesota for 8 years. Then he was a senator from the great state of Minnesota. He now runs the RJC. Did you know that, Noam?
I did not.
He runs the Republican Jewish Coalition. He had a huge event in Wisconsin the day that Donald Trump spoke, and I was there for that. And he was in the gallery last night. He sent me pictures, him and Mark Levin, him and Anthony D'Esposito. So we'll start with my cousin Norm Coleman, Curtis Sliwa, Peter King, the lovely Caitlin Sinclair, Bill O'Reilly, and Michael Goodwin. A tremendous guest list on a huge day after 4 major stories in our political world yesterday. This is the only place you should be this morning. Sid and Friends in the morning, exclusively on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC. Jimi Hendrix, you at 6:34, Thursday morning, big show again. Norm Coleman, Curtis Sliwa, Peter King, Caitlin Sinclair, Bill O'Reilly, Michael Goodwin. Mazi Pilip going to be back on tomorrow live in studio. She was in the gallery yesterday. Got a great picture with her and Noah, the hostage that is now home, thank God, and got a chance to see her mom right before her mom died from cancer. Her mom's dying wish was to hug her daughter one more time. One more time. And thanks to a daring rescue operation okayed by Bibi Netanyahu in Rafah, where Kamala Harris says Israel and Bibi should be punished for going in. Thanks to that daring rescue mission, they saved Noah, and she got a chance to hug her mom one more time before her mom died. One of the stories, of course, that you're not going to hear on MSNBC or CNN. They're not going to tell you that. But Bibi told you that yesterday. And so Mazi was in the audience, and she will join us live in studio tomorrow. And again, Bibi, Norm Coleman, my cousin, will join me momentarily. But I don't know what else he could have wanted. He went out of his way to thank Biden, which is ridiculous, but he did it. And he thanked the Democrats, and certainly Republicans have to be happy. He thanked Donald Trump. He talked time and time again about a common enemy, Iran, and how Israel and the United States basically brothers. There was nothing nasty about that speech. Nancy Pelosi, you witch.
Here is Netanyahu speaking about America and Israel. This is lovely. Standing together. Lewis, cut number 12.
This is not a clash of civilizations. It's a clash between barbarism and civilization. It's a clash between those who glorify death and those who sanctify life. For the forces of civilization to triumph, America and Israel must stand together.
So again, for all you folks that love the First Amendment, the right for people to go protest, shove it up your ass. I think it sucks. I do. I think it sucks. I couldn't care if they abolished it tomorrow. I wouldn't miss one, not one protest, not one. Because I got to tell you, for the last 5 years, since the BLM summer of 2020, the overwhelming majority of protests in this country are based on hate. I wouldn't miss it for a second. Now, I understand how important the First Amendment is. I'm on the air right now, and nobody stretches the First Amendment. Nobody like I do. No one comes close. Not at this station, not anywhere. I get it. But, man, these protests for the last 5 years have been America-hating, Jew-hating, white-hating. And these animals were out in full force yesterday, again, burning American flags.
Oh, my God.
Raising Palestinian flags.
Talib, did you say? Oh, my God.
Hamas is coming. We love Hamas.
Oh.
Just animals. They don't even know why they're there. They don't hate the Jews. They hate everything. They're fat. They're ugly. They're stupid. I wish to God they would come here one day. I really do. But they don't. So Bibi Netanyahu called them out for what they are. It was brilliant. Here's Bibi calling out the anti-Israel protesters, cut number 13.
The anti-Israel protests that are going on right now outside this building, not that many, but they're there, and throughout the city. Well, I have a message for these protesters. When the tyrants of Tehran, who hang gays from cranes and murder women for not covering their hair, are praising, promoting, and funding you, you have officially become Iran's useful idiots.
How great is that? No, how great is that?
That was a great line.
I mean, come on.
Did you hear the KFC line, too?
Oh, that was great.
That was a good line as well.
Yeah, the gays. For the gays. Guys are gays, whatever they call themselves. These morons, well, I guess they don't know that they kill Hamas. In Gaza, they kill gays. What was the exact line again?
I think I have it. Hold on
It was basically, it would be like chickens to KFC.
Yeah, here we go.
Because KFC kills the chickens.
Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
I thought that was the best line of the day.
That's a leader, man. Wow. That's a leader. I also loved, my wife basically grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. You know that. And Lara Trump, my dear friend Lara, grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina. So Danielle is a big Tar Heels fan. When she was a kid, Michael Jordan was a star there. And she taught me this North Carolina chant. It goes like this. Duke is puke, Wake is fake, but the team we hate is NC State. Go Tar Heels. That's what I got. But Bibi Netanyahu joined Danielle, Michael Jordan, and Tar Heel Nation when he deservedly praised, the kids at the University of North Carolina. Lewis, cut number 14.
So these protesters burn American flags even on the 4th of July. And I wish to salute the fraternity brothers at the University of North Carolina who protected the American flag against these anti-Israel protesters.
How great is that? And then he goes on to slam colleges like Harvard for allowing what they allowed to go on. This is Netanyahu, cut number 15.
It's not only the campus protesters who get it wrong. It's also the people who run those campuses. 80 years after the Holocaust, the presidents of Harvard, Penn, and I'm ashamed to say my alma mater, MIT, couldn't bring themselves to condemn the calls for the genocide of Jews. You remember what they said? They said, it depends on the context. Well, let me give these befuddled academics a little context.
Oh, God.
Anti-Semitism is the world's oldest hatred. For centuries, the massacre of Jews was always preceded by wild accusations. We were accused of everything from poisoning wells, to spreading plagues, to using the blood of slaughtered children to bake Passover matzahs. These preposterous anti-Semitic lies led to persecution, mass murder, and ultimately to history's worst genocide, the Holocaust. Now, just as malicious lies were leveled for centuries at the Jewish people, malicious lies are now being leveled at the Jewish state. No, don't applaud. Listen. The outrageous slanders that paint Israel as racist and genocidal are meant to delegitimize Israel, to demonize the Jewish state, and to demonize Jews everywhere. And no wonder we've witnessed an appalling rise of anti-Semitism in America and around the world. My friends, whenever and wherever we see the scourge of anti-Semitism, we must unequivocally condemn it and resolutely fight it, without exception.
All right, thank you very much. I think I want to have sex with Bibi. And also talking about the Jewish religion. You know, every year, I have to thank John Katzmatidis for this. It's been a tradition for John and Margot, but the tradition started for me, I want to say 3 years ago, maybe 4. And that is that every Hanukkah, the world's largest menorah is right outside the Plaza Hotel on Fifth Avenue in New York City. You do realize, Noam, that's the largest menorah in the world.
Of course, the one that 59th and 5th, I think it's right there,
outside
right?
the Plaza Hotel.
Yeah.
So every year, for a long time, 8 nights, thousands of people show up, and they light it. They actually have to use a crane to get people high enough in the air to light this menorah. It's an unbelievable sight. And again, a couple of years ago, John and Margot started inviting me, and I love them for that. And the rabbi that held that ceremony for a long time is a very popular New York rabbi anyway. He's a wonderful man, and his name is Rabbi Buttman. And I'm very sorry to say, John told me yesterday, Rabbi Buttman died.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. Oh, geez, that's terrible.
It's in the New York Post today.
Huh.
John and WABC with a beautiful tribute to Rabbi Buttman, who made thousands and thousands and thousands of New Yorkers and Jews around the world happy during the Hanukkah season. So I do want to send my condolences and our condolences, all of us, Noam, Lou, Justin, everybody, to the family of Rabbi Buttman. He's a great man. May he rest in peace. We're going to take a short break. We'll get some traffic when we get back. My cousin Norm Coleman was in the gallery yesterday, taking pictures with guys like Anthony D'Esposito, Mark Levin. He's good friends with Bibi Netanyahu. He runs the RJC, former mayor and senator from the great state of Minnesota. My first cousin Norm Coleman, my first guest today, is set to join me coming up.
This is Sid on Sports. Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your bottom of the hour sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, paviliontankless.com. Find a dealer near you. They are the world's best built boilers. Start here on the diamond in the Bronx, where Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, and Tyrone Taylor home it off Garrett Cole. Lindor added a 3-run shot against the bullpen, and the Mets routed the Yankees 12-3 to sweep the season Subway Series for the first time since 2013.
You're a diehard Yankee fan.
Yes, I am.
Do you want the Yankees to fire Aaron Boone?
We had this short discussion this morning.
Yes or no? There's not this. Yes or no?
Somebody's got to go.
So yes or no?
Well, Cashman's got to go. Cashman's got to go.
Okay, they're not going to fire Cashman. Do you want the Yankees to fire Aaron Boone?
Sure, why not? But it's not going to do anything.
But it's not his fault.
No.
Right, so on Sports Talk Radio today, when they yell and scream all down, he does a terrible job with the pitching staff, bullpen.
It wouldn't change a thing.
It wouldn't change a thing.
It would not change one thing.
Right. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not Aaron Boone's fault.
He's putting out the play. There's a reason you have Jamani Jones leading off and J.G. Davis hitting fourth.
Got it. But yet you say you would fire him.
Yeah.
That's because fans in general are stupid.
Right.
Sports Talk Radio in general, which I did for 20 years, is stupid.
Yeah, but I acknowledge that nothing would come of it. You know what I'm saying?
Then why do it?
I don't. Because you're right. I mean, fans need something to chew on.
Come on, you're starting muttering prick.
They need somebody to spit out. You need somebody to spit out. Who's the guy sitting there after the game saying, "We're right there. We're right there"?
Who did that?
Aaron Boone. We're right there. We're right around the corner.
So then fire him.
Okay.
Well,
right. I can't. So I don't have that.
All right. Very good.
That power. So the Mets, they sweep the season Subway Series, go 4-0 against the Yankees this year. Yanks continue to slide, but yes, if the season ended today, both teams would be in the playoffs. Up next for the Mets, Luis Severino starts tonight's homestand opener against the Atlanta Braves, and lefty Chris Sale. First pitch from Queens is set for 7:10 p.m. As for the Yankees, the lefty Nestor Cortez starts tomorrow's series opener at Boston, and righty Brian Bello is set to take the hill there for the Red Sox. Sports sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, PavilionTankless.com. Find a dealer near you. They're the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
But you say he's just a friend. Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in brokering the historic Abraham Accords. Like Americans, Israelis were relieved that President Trump emerged safe and sound from that dastardly attack on him, dastardly attack on American democracy. There is no room for political violence in democracies. I also want to thank President Trump for all the things he did for Israel, from recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, to confronting Iran's aggression, to recognizing Jerusalem as our capital and moving the American embassy there.
Now, there was, folks, for me, my favorite part of Bibi's speech yesterday, praising my friend Donald Trump. So last week, right before I watched Donald Trump speak from the floor of the convention, a couple of hours before, I was at the Wisconsin House watching my first cousin, who I love dearly. I'm so proud of him, Norm Coleman. He leads the RJC, Republican Jewish Coalition. He put together a great event. I love the speaker, Mike Johnson. He's become a good buddy of mine. I love him. And he had all great speakers there. He had Doug Burgum. He was terrific. Governor Abbott, Kristi Noem, just to name a few. Norm was in the gallery yesterday. I got pictures of Norm with Anthony D'Esposito, my pal from Long Island, Congressman Mark Levin, the great one, and others. Here he is, my first cousin, the esteemed Norman Coleman Jr., Norman, your sisters, I think Shannon and Candy are both listening right now. So
there you go. This is a family affair, Sid. So by the way, Netanyahu was fabulous yesterday. So the important number is 57. Okay, 57, and I'm not talking about Johan Santani from your Mets and my Minnesota Twins, but 57 is Netanyahu, and he's. I thought how many times he's spoken wasn't 57. He broke Churchill's, and I can't believe that I'm like messing up my interview with cousin Sid.
He did break his record. Yeah, he broke his record. Right. Churchill spoke 3 times, and yesterday was number 4 for Bibi.
Number 4. Yeah, it was number 4. But I don't know when I got 57. I was thinking of Johan Santana. I was so amazed that the Mets beat the Yankees, and I was kind of pulling some numbers together on some things, and I realized, so 57 came to me. You know what it was? It was rousing standing ovations. That was the number. He had 57 rousing standing ovations.
Is that right?
57. Yes, 57. And by the way, I sat in the balcony. I could have been on the floor. Membership has its privileges, and I could have been there. But I watched, and I stood there and I watched how Chris Murphy from Connecticut, Democrat Senator for Connecticut, and Warnock from Georgia, a number of others. They almost never once raised their hands and applauded. Never once. Sat there.
No, they sat there and they looked so angry.
They did when Netanyahu applauded Biden. That was the one time that they sat there, their hands. I mean, how could you not? How could you sit there when the Prime Minister of Israel is talking about Israel being America's indispensable ally? He's talking about this being a battle between civilization and barbarism. How could you sit there and not applaud to say, that's at one point, I think he said, if you want to remember one thing, it's that our fight is your fight.
Yep.
Our enemies are your enemy. Our victory is your victory. And to sit there and not to respond to that, to me, was shameless, by the way, that Kamala Harris wasn't sitting behind the dais because she didn't want to have a picture taken with America's strongest ally in this fight against barbarism. But shameless that those folks sat on the floor of the House in that chamber and couldn't applaud the Prime Minister of Israel saying great things about Israel and America.
No, you're right. And look, I wasn't there, so I had even a better view. I was watching it on TV. Not only did they not applaud, they looked angry. They had a scowl on their face. And then, like you said, Kamala, who clearly is going to run for president, she boycotted it. Bottom line, she didn't have something else to do, some stupid sorority. She boycotted it. And then you've got Rashida Tlaib sitting in the audience with a paddle that reads genocide on one side and war criminal on the other. It's unbelievable that that's allowed. Allowed right there in the people's house.
Well, they chose that was a decision made. It's not allowed, Sid, by the way, but they chose not to, not to enforce that. That was all. They didn't want it. They didn't want to give her, more focus, more attention. That you don't do that. That's third grade stuff, and that's about the mentality of her and the useful idiots that Netanyahu called out. By the way, I love the line where he's talking about gays for Gaza. That's like chickens for holding sign chickens for KFC. I mean. I was actually in Israel a couple months ago. I met with the Israeli Speaker of the House, who happens to be gay. And he particularly was talking about, what is this gays for Gaza? Are these people insane? In Iran, they hang gays from cranes. Okay, they murder women for having a veil over their face. And these folks out there are Iran's useful idiots, not just about Iran, because Iran is behind. That was the other major piece for those of your listeners who didn't get a chance to see it or watch it or haven't read everything about it. One of the key points of this whole speech is that Iran is the enemy, that they're behind all this. They're in fact, funding some of these demonstrations, that they're the source behind the terrorism in the Middle East, whether it's Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Shia militias. This is Iran, and Israel is, and in Iran they chant death to Israel right before they chant death to America, okay? Because that's where we're the big Satan. They're the one that they want to destroy, and Israel is out there. In effect, they're fighting our battle. Okay, they're shedding, their folks on the field are shedding blood, and the people have already suffered greatly. And America needs to stand with its indispensable ally in the Middle East, Israel.
This is my first cousin, Norman Coleman. He was there yesterday for that historic Netanyahu speech. As he pointed out, fourth time, he now has the record, one more than Winston Churchill. There was some very, very emotional moments. Obviously, Noah, the hostage who had a chance, he talked about hugging her mother one more time, and she got to do that because of his daring rescue, which to this day both Biden and Harris still say he should be punished for, which is hard to believe. She was there. And then when they showed on television, you were there, the Israeli soldiers, one guy missing an arm, one guy missing a leg, but the story specifically about the Ethiopian soldier who didn't have a car and ran 8 miles with a rifle. I mean, how beautiful was that?
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. The story of the father whose son died, whose son died, and how the father, the family came to Israel in Exodus, and this is another generation, and the father says his son's death. Says had there not been an Israeli army, and the picture would have been of the kid in the Warsaw Ghetto, standing there with the Germans pointing guns, at the Nazis surrounding this kid in the Warsaw Ghetto, helpless. But today, his son died, fighting for the people of Israel. There's a Jewish state. And with the indispensability of the Jewish state to the Jewish people, to this father, and in fact lost his son, but was proud that he died defending the Jewish people. There was no one defending the Jewish people, Sid, in World War II. America didn't go and knock out the trains going to Auschwitz in World War II. But ultimately, we liberated the concentration camps, and my dad, Norm Sr. was part of that. But today there is an Israel that protects the Jewish people and is also protecting American interests, protecting democracy in this battle between civilization and barbarism.
God, I miss your father. Uncle Norman, a real war hero, and the apple did not fall far from the tree with my cousin here, his son Norman. We talked about Kamala, disgraceful. She wasn't there. I mean, the fact is, Bibi landed in the United States on Monday. Not one member of that administration, not one, not Biden, who's half dead, or Harris or Blinken. Nobody showed up. And then yesterday, it took Norm all of about 15 minutes for Nancy Pelosi, that old witch, to actually tweet, "That was the worst speech I've ever heard from a foreign dignitary." Wait a second. He thanked Biden. Now, we all know that's nonsense. Biden has been anything but pro-Israel. Yes, he delivered those warships, but he's kept the bombs away. He's taken shots at Bibi. He called Bibi an asshole in front of people in public, but yet Bibi still thanked him, and Pelosi tweets 5 minutes later, "That was the worst speech ever." How disgusting is that?
It was all disgusting. Though I did have a little smile on my face as Bibi enters, as you know, when folks enter before an address the joint session, they come down the center aisle, and you have the Republicans on your right, you have the Democrats on the left. Everyone kind of reaches over and they shake the hands of the speaker. Schumer, of course, Democrat leader, is sitting right at the edge in the front row. He gives a nod to Bibi. Bibi doesn't even look at him; just looks right by him like he's a ghost. Just walked right by him, It was sad. I think these are folks who are defending the useful idiots, who are playing into this. It's really kind of a tragedy, Sid. What's going on here. This is, and again, this is, by the way, it's not just about Israel. What's being attacked here? Union Station, they tore down, they burned American flags, and they hoisted Palestinian flags.
Unreal.
On the poles around Union Station in Washington D.C. What the heck is going on? Okay, that's who Harris and Pelosi. That's who they're catering to. These morons who are out there kind of spitting on America. Supporting monsters. I mean, Hamas, monsters, Sid. That's what we're talking about. You've been to the music festival site in Israel.
Yep.
You've been to the kibbutzim right on the Gaza border. You've seen you know the stories. You know what happened. And Bibi talked about it. Killing kids in front of their parents in front of their kids, putting babies in ovens, rape and mutilation, okay? Monsters. And to associate yourself with these monsters, to me, is a sad commentary. And hopefully the American public, your listeners, and the American public will get it, and they'll speak out in November, and this administration will be, in the dustbin of history, and we'll be moving forward with a much stronger America with Donald Trump as president.
Oh, God, I hope so. If you look at the whole day yesterday, Norm, and again, you were in D.C., but look at the whole day. Here you got Christopher Wray, the FBI. Donald Trump nearly murdered the Secret Service. I love the Secret Service. Okay, love them. And I love the FBI. I do. But unfortunately, at the top of all these agencies, it's rotten. Thank God Kimberly Chato quit. I got to tell you, Chris Wray, he should quit too. They're worried about DEI. Are you nuts? People can die. The president nearly died. So you had Chris Wray. That was embarrassing and a bunch of lies. You had a bunch of Democrats who didn't show up, and the ones that did sat there miserable when Bibi spoke. Then you had President Biden last night to wrap up the day with an embarrassing waste of time speech where he told us nothing. He could have been honest and said, you know what, I'm pissed. They're forcing me out. I got a couple of years left. So all in all, what a lousy day for the Democrats, no?
Right. Well, that's why elections have consequences. People have a chance to kind of reset the table in November. And by the way, I said, in the segment before, you were giving your sportscast a little grief about, why fire someone? It doesn't make a difference. Right. It's actually good. It's good to fire people when there isn't performance, just to send a signal that someone's going to be held accountable. Biden doesn't fire anybody. Okay, Cheadle should have been fired. She eventually resigned. The generals oversaw the Afghan withdrawal and the folks State Department. They should have been fired. Okay, yep. You fire people at times, even if it doesn't fix the problem. Yep. Simply send a message to everybody else, okay, that this is not something we'll tolerate. We expect better. And you just laid out a litany of we need change, and it's the beauty of democracy. Let me say November. We just got to get through November.
Yeah, right.
We got to get through November with the president who's doesn't know whether he's here or there. Okay, right, but he's got the nuclear code. His hands on the button.
I mean, he could decide to bomb Iran today. That would be a good thing. But But all that litany, Norm, wasn't 8 months. That was 8 hours. Just so you know. So in wrapping this conversation up.
You're right, Sid. I accept you. I accept your conclusion. It was a tough day, but that's again, there's a way to respond to all this, and that is in November. And I got to tell you, in elections, the world belongs to those who show up. You can have for all the right reasons. You have the right people running. You have the wrong people in power. But if your team doesn't, show up on the field and doesn't execute, bad things happen. And you've laid out a litany, and we've seen a lot of bad things happen.
True. So in wrapping this up, I'm going to go back to Israel on October the 5th. My flights are made. My hotel's made. I really wanted to be there for the 1-year commemoration of October 7th. I'm going to be there, do my show that Monday, actually, from the Gaza border, which is going to be amazing. And I'm going to stay through Yom Kippur. I'm going to go to shul in Israel for Yom Kippur. And it'll be my second trip, of course, since what happened last year. Ava's been back, my daughter, twice. She stayed in the north, actually. And I worry, Norm, I'm really worried, not about the Hamas down in Gaza, but between what's going on in Judea and Samaria, and specifically Hezbollah up in the north. I really worry about the future of Israel. Now, Bibi always makes me feel better. So do you. Groups like the Republican Jewish Coalition, they make me feel better. But the truth is, that's a very, very small country surrounded by a lot of folks, some with nuclear weapons, that hate us. Should I not be worried?
Yeah, so let's end this on a positive note, Sid, that Bibi did talk about. He talked about the Abraham Accords. He talked about a coalition of kind of post-Abraham Accords, the other Arab nations. Then he's talking about Saudi, and he's talking about the possibility of Israel-Saudi integration, which will then bring in, I think, Malaysia and Indonesia, and isolate Iran. That is, we're inches away from that. That's going to happen, and that will pose a better future when Israel's integrated with its Arab neighbors, who are working together to fight Iran, to fight the plague of terrorism. And the last thing, Sid, is you're going to be in Israel, and that's on Yom Kippur. It's going to be a blessing. Remember, speaking to Hashem from Israel is a local call. Okay, so it's you're not calling long distance. It's a local call. You'll be there, and so expect better things to happen as we move forward.
I love that. I love you. I really love you, man. I'm so proud of you, and it was great seeing you in Wisconsin and seeing pictures with you and Mark Levin and Anthony, all my friends yesterday. Thank you for all the great work you do.
We missed you. They all love you too, by the way. So okay. Oh, Sid's your cousin. It's like who am I? Former senator. That's nothing. Straight garbage, right? Sid Rosenberg, your cousin. Wow. Love you, Sid.
I love you, too. You sound like Peter King. He says the same thing. Wait a second. I was a congressman before you. So what? You're friends with Sid. Norm, I love you. Take care. There he is. Take care. My first cousin, the esteemed great Norman Coleman, who was in that gallery yesterday. What a great way to start the show. How about that hour, Noam Layden, huh? How about that hour? Right now, what is Riddell talking about? Where his tickets are next year for the Tonys? Big hour number 2 about to come your way. Of course, it's always a big hour, no matter what. But today specifically,
The aforementioned Congressman Peter King is coming up this hour, as well as the great Curtis Sliwa. And don't forget, Caitlin Sinclair, Bill O'Reilly, and Michael Goodwin still to come. Hour number 2, right after news with Noam.
My admiration for everything you've done. You know I'm bound to thank you for it.
WABC. This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
No, I get by with a little help from my friends.
Taylor launches one to left. Forget it. The 9-hole hitter all over it. And Tyrone Taylor inserted into the game with a Bader injury, hits his 6th, and we're tied at 1 on a no-doubt shot to left.
Well, even if it would have taken 11 feet off that one, there was no way any ballpark in Major League Baseball was going to hold that. Tyrone Taylor getting on top of it.
Oh, Pete Alonso, left field. It's high. It is deep. It is out of here. Pete Alonso found a little more exit velocity on that one. A 2-run shot.
Guys, this guy's strong. Look at the exit velocity. That right there with the launch. Cutter stays right down the middle. And this time, Pete did not miss it. That has to feel good.
Lindor swings and drives one down the line and right. And it is second deck Lindor. Deja vu for Cole, who's given up now 3 home runs tonight, and for Francisco Lindor, number 20 on the season.
Francisco Lindor, you take away that first month, he might be running away with the MVP in the National League in a way. Absolutely pummeled that baseball. Oh yeah, Francisco's daughters and mama right there in the front row.
This ball driven again to left. Vientos exit stage left. Mark Vientos. I tell you, the Mets' musical notes are all on point tonight. Another home run for New York. It is their 4th of the game.
They've slugged.
There's no holes in this lineup right now. They're all coming together at the same time, and a slider gets lost by Vientos.
Another 100-mile-an-hour plus exit velocity. Swing and a drive, left center field. Francisco flushes the game with a 3-run shot. They lead it 11-2 on Lindor's 2nd of the night, and he's got 5 RBI.
Oh my. Oh man, that guy is something else.
What a night for Lindor. What a night for the Mets. That ball was absolutely smushed. There's 30 ballparks. This is a home run in every one of them.
There it is, folks. I call that baseball Viagra. Oh, I'm aroused right now. 5 home runs, all off of last year's Cy Young Award winner Garrett Cole. And the Mets bashed the Yankees' brains in. So they played the Yankees 4 times this year. They won't play them again unless they play in the World Series, which only one team is pointing in that direction, and it ain't in the Bronx. And the Mets won all 4. They won all 4, and they pounded the Yankees. The Yankees have the worst record in baseball the last 2 months in baseball. And the Mets, if the season ended today, are in the playoffs. I mean, really, both teams are in the playoffs. Yankees, the top wild card in the American League, and the Mets right behind the Braves, who they play tonight, as the top wild card in the National League. But, man, has it got bad for the Yankees. So get ready for, Brandon and Sal and Evan and Tiki and Francesa and Russo and all the sports guys here in New York and across the country to once again start talking about firing Yankee manager Aaron Boone. And that's where we start this morning with the icon, the legend, the great Mr. Guardian Angel Curtis Sliwa, the Rip and Read, noon to 1 every weekday afternoon, overnight weekends, and a tremendous job with me every day. You want to start right there with Aaron Boone, don't you?
Of course. Aaron Boone is the Joe Biden of New York Yankees. He's got to go.
He's got to go?
You're a Cali boy. He's got no fire, no emotion. You got Louis Rojas right there, third base coach. Great pedigree. Son of Felipe Alou. DNA of Marielo and Jesus Salo was your manager, if you forget, 2020, 2021. What a great flip of the script. Meantime, your manager, Carlos Mendoza, knows all about the weakness of the Yankees. He was the bench coach for Aaron Boone for 4 years.
Yeah.
He knows all the weakness. And Luis Severino says, hey, they only got 2 good hitters. And he's right.
He's right. Judge and Soto.
That's it.
Oh, Stanton when he's healthy.
Oh, my God, he's never healthy.
I know. You know, it's funny. You actually said Aaron Boone is Biden.
He is.
It surprises me.
He will not go. He will not leave.
I got it. But it surprises me because you're not running against Biden, but you will be running against another Democrat politician who will not go, will not leave, and you think is every bit as bad as Biden, and that's your friend, the mayor, Eric Adams.
Well, of course, he's the Biden of Brooklyn, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to be called the Biden of Brooklyn? What a schmuck, what a putz. By the way, is he getting hammered? Hall Street and Clinton Hill, they had demonstrations against him. He put 4,500 single able-bodied men of military age with nothing to do, nowhere to go. They're now shooting at one another, gang warfare there on one square block, and he goes, there's nothing I can do. Right. Then at 86th and 25th Avenue in Gravesend, thousands of Chinese out every night saying no to a homeless shelter. And he got pummeled last night in the Bronx on Pelham Parkway at the old Columbus High School. And he said, there's nothing I can do. Whatever happened to Barack Obama? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. With Eric Adams says, no, we can't. No, we can't. No, we can't. But that brings me to Joe Nolan's favorite, who's finally back from his pilgrimage in the pyramids of Egypt, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, the Jets actually start camp in 6 days. The Jets and the Giants start camp in 6 days.
That's right. And nobody asked him yesterday about why he was in Egypt. I claim he was influenced by his coach. To go there and sample the Muslim Brotherhood in the Sinai Desert.
I'm begging you to stop.
Why? How do we know? Nobody asked him.
The coach, Robert Saleh, does, to Curtis's point, happen to have the same name as the creep on the subway, the pro-Hamas guy, who told all the Zionists on that subway to stand up that day. They've got the same exact last name.
And notice, Noam Laden, a sycophant, goes, oh, yeah, Egypt, that's a pretty good place to go. What a sycophant, toady and lackey. And then, of course, there's Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, he's coming up.
I know that. But he accused me of doing what Aaron Rodgers does.
I have one question for you before we begin.
Sure.
All right. Does Sliwa consume LSD before sitting down with you in the morning?
Fair question. I don't know.
Well, Aaron Rodgers does. Ayahuasca, right?
He did. Yes.
Did any other reporters ask him about that? When's the last time you had a drug-induced LSD psychosis, Aaron, on ayahuasca?
He did do that, but nobody cares. It's like we didn't care how much cocaine Lawrence Taylor did, my dear friend. We wanted him to get 4 sacks and win Super Bowls. We don't care.
4 plays
we care about Week 1, Monday Night Football, Jets and 49ers. He can do all the LSD he wants. Yeah. He can say nice things about RFK Jr. We don't care.
And when he comes running out on the field with a Palestinian flag.
Get out of
here.
Jet
fans like Joe Nolan, they don't care as long as he wins.
Listen. You brought out the American flag last year and started to cry.
4 plays in, and then he tears his left Achilles tendon.
That is true, yes.
So, look, he gets a pass. I get accused of being in a drug-induced psychosis. Did you see FBI Director yesterday? Let me just give you one statement, because I don't want to pound this, because then you and me, we're going to get into it like 2 scorpions in a brandy gas.
Here's where you annoy me, okay? I never said you were wrong. What's wrong with you? All I said was, until we have definitive 1,000% proof, I'm not going to call it an inside job. But I've never said an inside job is not on the table. And I watch Christopher Wray, and the more I watch all of these people, including Nancy Mace, ripping Kimberly Cheadle to shreds, the more what you're saying sounds legitimate. But I can't make that crazy comment until I know for sure.
Let me give you another reason.
All right.
This is the FBI Director Wray, asked about an Iranian plot to kill Trump, which was not included in the Secret Service's threat assessment for the rally in Butler. FBI Director Wray declined to discuss specific details about such national security threats.
I saw.
suggesting that, let's face it, if you're Donald Trump, you cannot trust the FBI. That's already been proven.
Well, he said it yesterday.
Trust Secret Service.
He said it at his rally in North Carolina last night. He said it, Donald Trump. He said, much like Kimberly Cheeto did with the Secret Service, Chris Wray needs to resign today. He really picked on Wray, less about that and more of the fact that he believes that, like Kamala Harris, Chris Wray is covering up for what is 100% a Joe Biden that can't get the job done. But he wants Chris Wray to follow suit with Kimberly Cheeto, to your point, and so do I.
Absolutely. But remember, it was Shamu El Jefe, Chris Christie, who recommended Chris Wray, his private attorney, to replace Comey as FBI director. Remember, the only thing that we knew about Wray was that he hid Chris Christie's phone in his safe that had all the information about Bridgegate and wouldn't give it up. So for that, he becomes FBI director. But let me take this moment to praise you. I was listening
intently. It's been a while since you've done this.
Oh, my God. I was listening intently to you yesterday, and I have a newfound understanding of why you cry from time to time. I was very impressed. Wanting to be like a member of a men's pair figure skating team.
Yes.
When you mention Brian Boitano.
Oh, I love him, yes.
When you mention, although you didn't mention him, I was quite upset there, Eric Radford, the pair skater, who was the first openly gay man to win a gold medal during the Winter Olympics. I said to myself, oh, my God, Sid loves men's figure skating. This means he's non-binary. We don't know if he's homosexual, heterosexual. But when you love men's figure skating...
But I think you do know. You've met my wife, Danielle, who you know is a gorgeous woman, married 32 years. Kind of obvious that I'm not gay. No?
Look, could be your beard. How do I know? I'm not in your bedroom.
How did Ava and Gabriel get here?
Well, it's called donation in a petri dish. How do I know? Come on here.
You're so funny. You're so old school Brooklyn. That's why I love you. Because old school Brooklyn guys, if you play like a Neil Diamond or a Barry Manilow song, that's gay. If you like men's figure skating, that's gay. And what's funny is, guys like you and all these old Brooklyn guys who say everything is gay, they're really gay. They are so deathly afraid they may be gay that they're quick to point out everything that I like that's on the feminine side makes me gay when I'm the furthest thing from gay.
Let me give you
are closer to being gay.
Let me give you a man.
Because you are what they call. What is that word when you're afraid to be gay? What is that, Lewis?
Homo.
Yes.
Erotic. No.
No, that's not it.
Homophobe.
Yes, you are a homophobe because you're gay.
Well, wait a second.
That's why all your wives keep leaving you.
I've been called a homophobe, a xenophobe, a racist, a sexist, a misogynist, anti-Semite. What more do you want here? But wait a second. I want to give you, if you don't mind, the men's figure skating Rorschach test. Right. I want to see if you get excited.
All right.
When you see the compulsory moves.
Yeah.
A contest, the beginning of the contest, and you see someone execute a camel spin.
A what?
A camel spin where they've raised their leg and they're showing you their three-piece set. Do you get a little excited there, Sid? When they do a triple axel or a quadruple axel, when they're spinning in the air like a top, does that excite you? 4.5 revolutions in the air? Come on, admit it, Sid. You get excited over that toe jump, don't you? That Lutz, that axel that they perform in international competition to great music behind them. And you like the sequins, and you like the outfit, and you like the Liberace look. You like the Elton John look, don't you?
Yes, I do.
See?
Yes.
All of it. I smoked you out of the closet. Anybody who loves men's figure skating, and you probably loved the great voice of Dick Button all those years.
He was great. Come on.
That's right, you see.
Oh.
You had a thing for Dick Button, right?
What's better than Dick?
ABC World of Sports. Oh, my God. And now Snoop Doggy Dogg is carrying the Olympic torch. He's torching his spliff before he passes it on to LeBron James. And NBC, the nincompoop broadcasting company, is going to have Snoop Doggy Dogg smoking a blunt, doing color analysis for the Olympic Games. No wonder I couldn't give a flying flip about the Paris Pepe Le Pew Olympic Games. Oofa.
Gonna get you through. Another one bites the dust.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
If Kamala will lie to you so brazenly about Joe Biden's mental incapacity, then she will lie to you about anything. She can never, ever be trusted. She can't be trusted. And just like crooked Joe Biden, Kamala Harris is unfit to lead. She's unfit to lead. She'll destroy our country. In a year, this country will be destroyed. A vote for Kamala is a vote for 4 more years of dishonesty, incompetence, weakness, and failure. Other than that, she's doing an excellent job.
The name of this group is Garbage, which is perfect. The name of this song is Stupid Girl. This goes out to you, Kamala. I'm watching, out of the corner of my eye, Fox News is showing these pro-Palestinian animals burning flags and writing Hamas is here with love letters and burning Netanyahu in effigy and raising the Palestinian flags, doing all this. And has anybody heard from, as Bill O'Reilly just called her, Saint Joan of Kamala? Nothing. She was hanging out with her black sorority friends in Indiana yesterday. She deemed that more important than Israel's prime minister speaking at the people's house. I mean, this is unbelievable, folks. Come on. And yet, as President Trump said last night in North Carolina, and I've been saying for a long time, way before Trump said it on Sebastian Gorka, if you're a Jew and you vote Democrat, you are a disgrace. That's it. Don't give me I'm entitled. It's a democracy. You're not a better Jew than I am. Yes, I am. I don't care if you are observant, Shabbat. I don't care what you do. If you vote Democrat, you're a crappy Jew. I just said it. Yep, I said it. If you vote Democrat, you're a crappy Jew. You're voting for a party that is out there celebrating murderers and rapists. That's your party. That's them. Kamala at a black sorority in Indiana. Tlaib sitting there with a paddle. Genocide, mass murderer, war criminal. 30 of them didn't even show up. Nancy Pelosi, quick to say worst speech she's ever heard. It was a magnificent speech. That's your party. So I'm going to say it again at the risk of really pissing people off. Yes, it is true. We're all Jewish. But if you vote Democrat, you are a crappy Jew.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
One of the things that I can share here today that has not been shared yet is that we've just in the last couple of days found that from our review, to your point about devices, analysis of a laptop that the investigation ties to the shooter reveals that on July 6th, he did a Google search for, quote, how far away was Oswald from Kennedy? And so that's a search that obviously is significant in terms of his state of mind. That is the same day that it appears that he registered for the Butler rally.
FBI Director Christopher Wray, in excess, new sensation. So I watched Chris Wray yesterday. Yesterday was, again, a huge day. 4 major political events, if you will. Chris Wray testifying on the Hill. Then you had Bibi speaking in front of Congress. Then you had Trump at a rally in North Carolina. Then Biden wasted our time last night. But, listen, you guys know how I feel about the FBI. George V. is listening right now, dear friend of ours. Big boss here at Red Apple behind John Katzmatidis. Wonderful man, great FBI man, and the overwhelming majority of FBI people are fantastic and do a great job protecting us. They thwart attempts to kill us every day. But unfortunately, whether it was James Comey, who's a scumbag, this guy Chris Wray, who's no good, Strzok and Page, and all the animals over the years, top of the fish is stinking. Same thing with Secret Service. My good buddy Russ Sullivan listening right now in Maryland. 23 years Secret Service. Great man. Great patriot. Loves this country. Those 6 people that rushed the stage that day, that's courage with a capital C. But Kimberly Chadle had to resign. She should have been fired. But she had to resign because it stinks at the top. And that has become a huge issue. The DOJ, Merrick Garland, it stinks at the top. Peter King, the great congressman, one of the 2 best politicians locally in my lifetime, him and Rudy. Is there anything wrong with what I just said?
No, I agree with everything. First of all, rank and file FBI agents are great. You mentioned George there in WABC. He was the assistant director here in New York. He was phenomenal. I deal with them every day. Certainly just recently with the whole cricket tournament in Nassau County. They were indispensable in helping, working with the Nassau police and the state police and everybody else. They're great. But no, for a number of years, they were at the top, starting with Comey, who I have to admit had me fooled for a while. I thought he was one of the only good guys in that administration compared to Brennan and the others. But it turned out he was maybe, the worst of all of them. And Andrew McCabe, the same thing. I was involved with him for a number of years. And it turned out that he was a fraud. We go to the whole list, and that those 2 lovers, that were going after Trump at the time. A disgrace that they were even in the FBI. Secret Service, when I was chairman of the Homeland Security Committee and ranking member, and it didn't matter whether it was Democrat or Republican, whenever there was any problem with the Secret Service, some potential scandal or something went wrong, the director would be on the phone that day or the next day. They'd be coming up to meet with us privately and then have a public hearing. So what she did was absolutely wrong. I think it does come from the top. I think the fact you have an attorney general who is a political operative, you have a president of the United States, Joe Biden, and before that, going back to Obama, people who they have a different attitude toward the world than you or I do. They are generally not on the side of cops. They always want to find an excuse as to why a riot was held, why some lowlife committed a crime, and that permeates. That's the top levels. But thank God, the rank and file, for the most part, the ones I dealt with, and I don't want to mention names here because I don't want to get them in trouble. But some of the guys here in New York are just phenomenal. Phenomenal to work with. They have a joint terrorism task force. Several years ago, there was some disputes between the FBI and the NYPD. I tell you, when George came in, that was all resolved. But no, day in, day out. But at the top with Wray. Now, with Wray, all I give Wray credit for, he is willing to speak out about terrorism. And that may sound obvious to you, Sid. Of course, the FBI Director to speak out against it. Democrats don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear there's Islamist terrorists in the country because we all love each other. There is no such thing as Islamist terrorism. There's a few bad people, but it has nothing to do with the fact that they belong to a crazy cult of Islam. So the fact that he even talks about that, I give him credit for.
Well, I'll give you that. I'll give you that right now. Let me stop you right there, Pete. Being that you brought it up, here is Christopher Wray, the FBI director, talking about that. Something I got to give you credit for. You keep going back to Congress, to the Hill, to warn people, especially after Donald Trump did the right thing and killed Soleimani, who, of course, was one of the top Iranian officials. Chris Wray did make that point after lying and evading questions about the would-be assassin. He did talk about the real threat of terrorism.
I have warned for some time now about the threat that foreign terrorists may seek to exploit our southwest border or some other port of entry to advance a plot against Americans.
So there it is. He did it again yesterday, to your point.
Yeah, and that is a real threat. I mean, it was 17 people almost put the country to its knees back in 9/11. Now, and that was before they really built up, the worldwide network they have today. If even what half of what Christopher Wray says is accurate, all you need is 3 or 4 people. We, thank God Ray Kelly stopped him, but back in 2009, I guess it was, we had 4 or 5 terrorists who could have destroyed the New York City subway system. They had liquid explosives, which come from Colorado, and they had it all planned to hit the New York City subway system. Imagine hitting the rush hour with explosives, liquid explosives, the damage that would have done. So, no, it doesn't take a lot. And then you figure the fact that here, like in New York, under Bill de Blasio and others, and some of the federal court judges, the fact that the surveillance has had to be cut back, the fact that it's considered bigotry to be, quote-unquote, profiling. If you want to find out where a terrorist might be who's coming from, whatever the country happens to be, Yemen, Ethiopia, wherever, you want to make sure that you know what's going on in that community here in New York, because we have so many different communities. And that's been, unfortunately, cut back quite a bit. Thank God the NYPD so can do some of the things they used to do, but it's nowhere near what it was like under Kelly and Bratton, especially Kelly.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. This is the great Congressman Peter King. So, we both agree that January 6th was a bad day. You think it was probably worse than I do. I'm on record saying you can grab any night, any summer night back in the BLM summer of 2020 in any major city. And if you're going to be honest, and talk about injuries, death, destruction, January 6th falls short. Sorry. Now, I understand that the visual of people breaking into the Capitol is terrifying. I agree with that. Okay. But you look what happened yesterday. Raising Palestinian flags, burning American flags, writing Hamas is coming with hearts on a monument, desecrating. I mean, yesterday to me wasn't a heck of a lot different than January 6th. Then you get inside the building. I get that. But the point is, Pete, not one Democrat, not one said a word yesterday, not a word about what these animals did in D.C. And they continue to get away with under the bullshizzle guise of the First Amendment. It is absolutely not right.
I think you're giving animals a bad name. Those people to me are disgusting creatures. I sound like your mother now, but I mean, they are absolutely terrible people. No, listen, my criticism of January 6th is President Trump didn't speak out. We can leave it at that. But as far as the actual level of violence.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. If you, and I'm okay with that. If you want to criticize, she did speak out. He did. But if you want to criticize him for taking too long, that's okay. Okay, so where's Harris and Biden? It's a day later.
Sid, I agree with you completely, and I've said that what happened in the summer of 2020 was a national disgrace. You have people like Kamala Harris posting bail for these people, some of who turned out to be accused murderers. There was virtually not one word spoken. You had CNN constantly talking about mostly peaceful. They were not. They were rioters. They were murderers. And what happened here in New York City, I was condemning it every day. That was a national disgrace, and the Democrats were silent about it. You had Bill de Blasio. You had Andrew Cuomo, Curtis's friend, Andrew Cuomo, saying he was proud to stand with the protesters the night after they threw a Molotov cocktail at a police vehicle and knocked the cop's teeth out with a brick. I mean, that was absolutely disgraceful. Nothing compares to that, and that was sustained. That wasn't like a one-night thing. That was encouraged by the Democratic Party. They were horrible. And yesterday, every Democrat should have been out there condemning what happened. I said, I was critical of President Bush January 6th. I'm supporting him for president. Those people, the Democrats, the way they were yesterday, allowing that to go on, not saying a word about it, is indefensible.
So last night, Biden speaks, and he did what I thought he would do, Peter. Let's be honest. I mean, there was a moment right before I was watching Brett Baer and Martha McCallum, who I like less and less every day, and saying to myself, maybe he's going to shock us and tell us the truth, that he's been forced out. But, of course, he said basically what I thought he was going to say, which was nothing. It was a complete waste of time. I think Dana Perino put it best when she said, basically, it was a mini State of the Union. Hey, things are great. I'm doing great. I'm going to move aside now because we want young, great voices and vote for Kamala. I mean, we wanted to hear something. How all of a sudden did you go from 1 week, I'm not going anywhere, I'm great, my record speaks for itself, to time to go home? Now, we know the answer, but God forbid him or anyone in that Democrat Party is somewhat honest.
No, the whole thing was a fraud. I was actually at the Mets-Yankee game last night with my grandson, so I didn't see the piece live. I come home, I asked Rosemary about it, and she was saying it was like an Iranian hostage video. He never blinked his eyes. He stared into the camera, and he was just going on. And then, so I watched it myself. It was even worse than she described it. And listen, everyone knows that something went wrong. The fact that he didn't own up to that at all. And if you just come in from Mars and listen to that speech last night, you figure, oh, here's a nice guy. He's doing a good job, and suddenly he decided, let me hand it off to another generation, not knowing the Democrat. That was out of the Godfather. By the way, I'm not a guy who's shocked by what happened. That is tough politics. But Nancy Pelosi, and I've known her a long time, she is ruthless. She's 84 years old. She's as sharp as she ever was. Chuck Schumer comes to visit him. He's a guy who says, I'm going to stay in forever. Nobody can get me out. Only God can ask me to leave. The next thing you know, suddenly he walks out. He packs his bags, and he's gone. So, no, obviously something was said to him, whether it was an ultimatum, whether it was a threat, whether it was an offer, whatever it was. But he was told either do it or you're gone. One way or the other, you got to be out of here. And so he tries to do it peacefully. But the fact that he was even silent about that, he could have said something.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, I think I can do the job for the rest of the year, but I just don't know if I can do it for the next 4 years. So I thought, nothing like that. He made it sound like this was like his commencement speech or graduation.
Exactly. Right. And the Republicans make a good point, which is if you're not healthy enough, which is what KJP said, right? If you're not healthy enough to run again.
What are you bringing her name up for? God, you're doing the whole morning.
I can't stand her, I know. But if you're not healthy enough to run again, then get out now. Go home. Thank you very much. I had a great 3.5 years. I'm the greatest president ever. And here comes Kamala. And the rumor is that Barack Obama, he's the last one to endorse her, hasn't done it yet. The rest of them all came in, right? Schumer and Pelosi and Jeffries. And the rumor is that Obama hasn't done it yet because he really believes in his heart of hearts that she can't win. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that is the rumor. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's hard to figure out Barack Obama. What he is not, he's not these kindly gentlemen people say he is. He is a tough political operator, and he has something up his sleeve. I don't know what it is. Maybe, again, I don't know, but I watch him carefully. He is a very shrewd operator. But you put him, Pelosi, Schumer, I mean, they work. They are tough behind-the-scenes operators. And all this talk about threats to democracy. Here a guy gets 14 million votes, and he's out before he can even claim victory. I mean, this is if the Republicans had done this, I mean, if they'd suddenly just, let's say Nikki Haley had gotten the nomination, and suddenly she's gone because she decides to leave. I mean, that's what's happened. 14 million votes, and they wouldn't let anybody else run. They control the field. Then the guy they wanted got in, and then he was exposed, and now they want him out, and he has no say. I think of the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the world. He's sitting in a house in Delaware, and a couple of people come to see him, and suddenly he's gone. If we heard that about Russia, I mean, that's what happened to Khrushchev. Back in 1964, the guy said he's the most powerful leader Russia ever had. The next thing you know, he's resigning. Yep. You had Gorbachev, 1991. Suddenly he goes on vacation, doesn't come back for a while. I mean, this is third world stuff we're seeing here. And yet the media, they're falling all over themselves. I mean, I think Kamala Harris is like God's gift to the world now. Listen, she can be an impressive candidate if she's channeled the right way. Please. So Republicans don't take this thing lightly. We have to work. After all that's gone on over the last few weeks, it's still only a 2-point race. And they're going to have the media on their side. That's worth a few points right there. That's the way the media, I mean, every time Donald Trump looks the wrong way, there's going to be a major scandal story about it. Kamala Harris can fall on her face and say she's a great acrobat.
Sure.
No, you can't. I mean, this is This is going to be a tough race. And local congressmen like Anthony D'Esposito, 70,000 more Democrats in his district. We got to work hard for these guys. We can't live in an echo chamber where everyone we talk to is for Trump. Everybody in the country is not for Trump.
Nope.
And what you saw out there with Hamas yesterday, could you have imagined that just a few years ago?
Never. No, you're right. We can't be complacent, and it is going to be close. I think it'll be closer now than Biden. But we'll see. I mean, Brett Baer was talking last night about this possibility of a September 17th debate on Fox News. He put it out there, him and Martha. Come on, we'll host it, and you can have an audience. You don't have to have an audience. They basically said, do whatever you want, but we are offering you September the 17th debate, Trump and Harris on Fox News. And we can only hope to God that's the case, because she'll continue to have some momentum, black, female, hundreds of millions coming in. She's alive. Biden is not. She'll have some momentum. There's no doubt about it, until it's time to discuss substance. Right. Then Trump should kill her. We'll see what happens. Peter King, I love you. And on a good note,
one final suggestion. Back in 1992, Imus had Barbara Abrams and Al D'Amato on a debate. That's on the election. You should invite them on your show. That'd be great. ABC, Kamala Harris walking into the studio at WABC, having to look across those ugly guys like Rufino and Justin and all that. It'd be great. What a day that would be for democracy. And by the way, are you going to Gargiulo's tomorrow night?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I know I've been busy. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, should I make the reservation to you?
Tomorrow's that's the thing at the Wall, right?
Yes.
Sal, what's Sal's last name again? Mogden?
Mogden, yes.
Yes, and it is for the fire department, right?
Right, absolutely. Firemen and cops, I think honoring Monsignor Romano tomorrow night.
Oh, he's a good guy. All right, so I'll text you after the show. We'll make those plans, okay?
Great, you got it.
All right, Peter, great job. There he is, Congressman Peter King, here on Sid and Friends in the Morning. We'll take a short break. That wraps up hour number 2. Big 8 o'clock hour about to come your way. The best rating segment of the week, any time, any show on WABC. Bill O'Reilly and Sid Rosenberg. That's coming up. And also this hour, Caitlin Sinclair, live in studio. O'Reilly and Sinclair. Keep it right here.
And you will find out in the end, there really is no difference.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
This is Stiletto. This is on the 52nd Street album. Half a Mile Away is on that album. So is Zanzibar. Billy Joel, you're going to take the stage for the last time tonight. But he's still living in New York, right? He's not. Last year they were saying he moved down to Florida and all that nonsense. He ain't leaving, right?
I don't think so. He still has a place out on Long Island.
Yeah, still a couple more trees he's got to hit before.
No, he's got to hit some trees down in Florida now.
You got a whole bunch of trees he can hit now in Palm Beach. All right, Billy.
Surrounded by water, he's going to be fine.
Billy Joel is approaching your neighborhood. Please go inside.
I got 3 great guests coming up. Really, 3 great guests. The great writer from the New York Post, Michael Goodwin. Early next hour, the man himself, the great Bill O'Reilly, and our friend Caitlin Sinclair, who did a great job, I must say, in Milwaukee last week. And she's terrific. She's going to be in studio coming up in a couple of minutes. Sinclair, O'Reilly, and Goodwin will take a short break, get Caitlin in studio, and keep you entertained until 10 when Brian Kilmeade, who just spoke to President Trump, will come your way.
Doomed.
Entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Hello, Sid.
Good tune. I love the Killers. 8:33 on your Thursday morning. The segment of the week, nobody gets better ratings than O'Reilly and Rosenberg. Bill O'Reilly set to join us in about 15 minutes. Michael Goodwin next hour. Caitlin Sinclair was in studio last Friday. You know, I've only met Caitlin twice. I met her at the Metropolitan Award dinner last year, and she was in studio last week. So I'll tell the story again quickly.
Oh, no.
It's so bad, Caitlin. So I'm on the floor Thursday night. I'm on Hannity. I mean, people see me all over the place. It was a big deal. You don't see a tan guy, bald, white sport jacket often, you know. So I'm on the floor, and I see a news reporter, attractive like Caitlin, and I go to D'Esposito, that moron, and Waller. I go, is that Caitlin? They go, yeah. I go, okay, good. Let me go over and say hello. So I run over. I make like a beeline. I throw this huge hug around Caitlin, give her a kiss on her face, and she looks at me like I'm Robert Chambers. I swear to God. I'm like, what is that about? And I'm like, hey, you okay? She goes, yeah. I said, what are you doing here? She goes, what do you mean, what am I doing here? I'm working. I go, really? For who? She goes, what? She goes, can I ask you something? I go, sure. She goes, who are you? I said, oh, that's quite a memory. You were just in studio with me last week. She goes, I was what? So at that point, I'm like, I got to start to walk away from this. So
should have run away.
Yeah, I should run. So
you turned around and saw her.
Yes. So they go.
And you thought that
yes.
was Caitlin.
Poor Sid.
Right. It was Caitlin Collins from CNN, who I've destroyed on this show time and time again. Not Caitlin Sinclair, who's our friend. So
we can blame D'Esposito, I guess. We
let's blame him.
We have someone to blame.
Are you friends with Anthony, too?
They're all the best, yeah. Lawler, D'Esposito.
But you're not from Long Island, are you?
I am, Sid.
Now, where do you live again?
Well, now I live in the city, of course. But,
right.
And I went to speech therapy, so hopefully no one else can tell I'm from Long Island. We'll keep that between all your listeners.
Where did you grow up? What part of Long Island?
St. James, around the Smithtown area, Suffolk County. And then I went to St. Anthony's, which is in Huntington.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Are you a big Billy Joel fan?
I am.
You are?
I went to at least 10 concerts.
10 of them?
At least 10.
It's a horrible show. I love Billy Joel.
My mom was the biggest fan. And every time said he did the whole, this is the last one. This is the last one. So my mom would drag me. And
that's cute, though.
Here we are.
Is your mom still on the island?
Yes, she is.
Okay. So you did a great job last week. I kept seeing you, what is it called again? You not Turning Point with Charlie.
Real America's Voice.
Yeah, what is that now exactly?
Yeah, so RAV is, oh my God, they are really growing, Sid. So Real America's Voice, privately owned, and they have great talent, like Monica Crowley. I think you said you saw her
was there,
on the couch a few times. They had an amazing setup at the RNC. So Charlie Kirk, actually, his show airs on multiple platforms, but RAV is one of the biggest platforms. So we were just doing nonstop hits and
all day. I did
all
2
day.
hits with Dave. Yeah. You know Dave,
of course,
and Adam Weiss.
Yes,
and it was a beautiful setup. But it was also it was the Steve Bannon setup.
Right.
And it was like this little box. And I'm like, is this supposed to be like Bannon's cell? I don't know.
Well, our good friend Bannon there, of course, is away for a little. And so everyone's been trying to fill in and make it work. And they've been doing a really great job.
Now, you work on that too, the war room stuff?
Just as a guest.
Just as a guest, okay.
But of course, we're in this fight with Mr. Bannon, so.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of guesting last week on other multiple platforms?
Oh, yes.
Like Breitbart was there, for example. You did that? You and Emily Austin?
All over Media Row and running around, and it was that. Yeah. What a great event.
See, I actually met you. You were at that awards dinner that night. But, there's bugs, I know. It's weird. But I met you because you were with, Rudy Giuliani and that crew.
Yeah.
And I saw Rudy in Milwaukee. And I miss Rudy. I love Rudy. And I told him that, And, you were with Rudy in Wisconsin too, yes?
Yes. He is a really great friend. His whole team, great friends of mine. And we had some private dinners during, last week at the convention. And
really?
Boy. Oh, yeah.
Did he take it to the Capitol Grill at least?
So the Capitol Grill, let me tell you about the Capitol Grill. Said there was many nights where I was so excited. I just wanted a steak to myself. And then I found out the Capitol Grill closed at, I don't know, like 8 p.m.
Yeah, no, like 9 p.m.
It was ridiculous. I'm used to New York, okay? So I never made it to the Capitol Grill.
We went there at 6 o'clock one night, actually.
Oh, yeah. I was working way past 9 p.m. last week. But
so what were your impressions? Here we were in Milwaukee 2 days after your friend too, President Trump was shot. And he had these raucous 4 nights ending with Trump's speech. What were your impressions of the whole week?
It was incredible. You heard from some of the left, like someone like a Van Jones said, who is a staunch Democrat. And he actually came out and said, I have not seen a convention like this since Barack Obama days.
He's the same guy that was crying, of course, when Joe Biden
a lot of those folks were having their hissy fits and meltdowns. But someone like a Van Jones was able to look at the RNC and come away from that week and say, Democrats are falling apart while Republicans are coming together. And that is exactly the energy in the room that I felt. I think many of us felt.
Yes.
And the topic of unity was, of course, the main topic of the week. President Trump said himself he had to tear up his original speech and completely rewrote his speech based on the message of unity. And I think he did a really great job of staying away from attacking Joe Biden and focusing on the American people.
I agree.
And I think that really scared a lot
I think
of
it
the
scared
left.
him too, and that's part of the reason why Joe Biden quit, okay? Or quit, why they took him down. They made him leave. So now that same momentum that we had last week has been trimmed just a bit. I don't think there's any question that Kamala Harris, I don't think she'll win, but she's certainly a much more dangerous opponent than Biden, who the last couple of times we saw him could barely get his sentence out. Now, you're a female, so you could appreciate young women rising to the top. She's done that. Now I know how she got there. That's fine. Others disagree. They talk about Attorney General. They talk about all this nonsense. Either way, she got there. So as a young woman, you're not impressed?
I'm glad you brought that up because as a young woman, I think I can speak to this and maybe I won't get canceled, Sid, but I am very nervous for how the young women of today's society are going to react. And I think that it is the women out there that are unfortunately right now responsible for the deterioration of our society. Please don't cancel me for saying that. But I think it's the same party that does not know how to define a woman that is now trying to target the woman out there to vote for the first woman president. And that should scare everybody. Kamala Harris is trying to position herself, and so is the left, as an inspiration to all females out there. And Sid, my question for them is, what is the message? If you sleep with a powerful man, a powerful politician, you too could take the shoes of a guy with dementia. What is the message, and how is that inspirational to women?
Tremendous.
That's my question.
You should just leave right now. That's a
mic drop.
That's a mic drop right there. You sleep with the Mayor Brown, and you get elevated to this position, and now you want to act like you know stuff. So look, we know that. Really, that was great. So she gets this bump, right? Because again, she's alive, and Biden's half dead. She's a woman. She's black. Blah blah blah. God, it's noisy.
She checks some boxes.
All these boxes, right? But then there's going to come a time, right, when all this is going to stop, and she has to speak about substance. Last night, for example, Fox News offered on air Brett Baer and Martha McCallum a debate on September the 17th. Do you have any doubt in your mind, Caitlin Sinclair, that Kamala Harris cannot handle herself in a debate? Or there are some that say, slow down, Sid. She's an attorney general. She can talk. She can defend herself. But what about the issues? Your thoughts?
She can talk or she can cackle. I don't know. I don't know how much talking, cackling Kamala can do. She can talk issues. She can defend herself. Really? Because this is, again, she's been part of this administration, right? I think some folks back home are forgetting that.
Yeah.
She has been our vice president. She has approved these policies. She has supported these policies and said this is the same woman that has been lying to the American people about the state and the cognitive abilities of our sitting commander in chief.
That's right.
So what does that tell you? This is someone that has supported these policies, stood for these policies. This is someone that does not care if your daughter at home is the next Laken Riley. This is someone that doesn't care if your wife or girlfriend is the next Rachel Morin. So I want to hear about the policies and if she plans on changing any of these policies, because I think that's really confusing for the American people. And maybe they're forgetting that this is someone that's been part of this administration for the past 3.5 years. She supports the exact policies that are coming out of the White House and all of the crises that we're facing. So I don't know how she defends all of that.
Well, you left out the great job she did with the border, obviously.
Yes. Well, she hasn't been to Europe.
I know. So Trump was out in North Carolina last night, and he got nasty a little bit. He said, and I'm happy about this. I'm going to wrap this up with this. I have friends. They don't stop with that Trump needs to be nice. It bothers me. Yeah. You know what Trump needs to be, Caitlin? Trump needs to be Trump. He's authentic. He doesn't need to be nice. I haven't met one person out there who said, you know what, I'm going to vote for Trump if he's nice. They vote for Trump based upon his policies, and they don't vote for Trump because they hate him. Nobody cares. The undecideds, they want Trump to be nice. Bullshizzle. Trump needs to be Trump. And when they murder this guy every day, literally tried to kill him, and they're out there calling him last night, Kamala Harris, calling him a rapist and a convicted felon, being nice. Give me a break.
You know who I do hear that from, again, unfortunately? The single women out there. They are so wah. I want him to be nice.
Be nice.
I don't know how nice helps it when you're going to fill up your gas tank and you can't do it. When you're going to put food on the table and it's a little rough out there right now. I don't know how being nice and nice tweets are going to help you do that, right? When you're walking the streets of New York or any of these major liberal cities, I don't know how nice Donald Trump saves you out there. And that's my question for the ladies.
A girl like you, remember that there was a couple of months there was guys are punching women across the face?
Exactly. I don't think Mr. Nice Guy is coming to save us. So I so agree with you. I echo that sentiment all the time. What America is longing for right now, Sid, is authenticity. All Donald Trump needs to do is be authentic and be real with the American people, and he will continue to win the polls and then hopefully take this country back.
Where can folks, you're going to be on the show a lot, obviously. You've been on every week, and you'll be on every week. But where can folks find you outside of this radio show?
Yeah, sure. Well, you can follow me on Twitter, just see Sinclair TV. And you'll see where I'm appearing for the week on media appearances. And then go download our app, which is just the TP Action app. You can go to coalitions.com if you want to find out more about our coalitions and get involved in Turning Point Action, because we are doing, Sid, all the grassroots on the ground work.
Yes, you're part of the Gen Z coalition.
That's right.
That's a big deal. I'm
is.
waiting to hear back from Liz Pipko about my Jewish Voices coalition, which I'm supposed to be help leading that.
Very important, yeah.
Gen Z's a big deal.
Gen Z's a huge deal right now. And if you look at any of the polls, if you listen to the pundits, Donald Trump continues to win over this demographic, and it's a demographic that the Democrats, I think, just took advantage of. They really thought that it was a landslide win for them. They didn't have to put in any work, but said this is a generation that really wants love of country again. They want pride. They want patriotism. They want family values. They care about faith and God in the country again. And the Democrats are not speaking to this. The Democrats have lost the forgotten American out there. And boy, am I excited about a Trump-Vance ticket. I think that exactly speaks to that forgotten American that wants love of country, that wants to take this country back, that wants to instill the core principles in their children that this country was founded on. And you don't see that anywhere as much as with the younger generation like Gen Z.
Well done. That is Caitlin Sinclair, folks. She's absolutely tremendous. She'll be back here next week. We're going to take a short break. When we get back, it is the rating segment of the week. No higher ratings than Bill O'Reilly and Sid Rosenberg. The great Bill O'Reilly coming up next after a great appearance by the great Caitlin Sinclair. I'll be back right after this.
is Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
Half a mile away. We mentioned this song earlier, 52nd Street. Just so happens O'Reilly and Billy Joel are good friends. They are good friends. Bill O'Reilly, folks, he was the best. He still is the best. He'll always be the best, whether it's 9 p.m. right here, weeknights on WABC, or his own amazing website, BillO'Reilly.com. Great stories, great articles, great TV show, great interviews. He does it all. The Killing series, 13 Deep, all terrific. His new book coming out September the 10th, Confronting the Presidents. Nobody better. He's been on twice this week now, Bill, because to his credit, and he'll be humble about it, he told us a year ago, never wavered, Joe Biden would, in fact, not run again. And he ended up being right. So here he is, my dear friend, the brilliant Bill O'Reilly. So he says he ain't going to do it again, which you've been saying for a year, Bill. And then he comes out last night. We're all awaiting this big speech. Some of us deluded ourselves into thinking he was going to tell us the truth. And as it turned out, he told us nothing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and why would anybody expect him to tell the truth about the Democratic Party? He's not going to do that. And at this point, I don't really – Joe Biden to me is I feel sorry for him. I know you disagree. I don't dislike him. I just think that in our history, we have had incompetent presidents. And I point them out in Confronting the Presidents. That book is simply about who helped the country and who didn't from the White House. And you'll be surprised that some of the presidents I said were total screw-ups because people think they weren't. Well, from day one, Joe Biden has been a screw-up in the White House, and it was predicted by Barack Obama. Barack Obama has no use for Joe Biden, and the quote was, don't underestimate Joe's ability to blank things up. Remember that quote?
Yes.
Okay.
He said the F word, yeah.
The head foreign policy guy said to Biden's been wrong on every single policy decision overseas in his career.
And that was Gates, right?
Yeah, Robert Gates.
Yep.
So when you have that kind of a resume, why is there an expectation that he's, A, going to be efficient, and B, going to tell you the truth? He's never done either. So when I'm watching this last night, and what I do get angry about is the press. Because, and I'll give you a very, very, I'm a simple man. You know, you don't get more simple than I am. Okay? I'm watching it. He gives a speech. He doesn't tell the American people why he changed his mind, right? Doesn't even get into that.
Nothing.
Because this was a man who was adamant he and his wife weren't going anywhere. And then all his acolytes going, they're not going anywhere. Joe's in charge. And then all of a sudden, Joe's not in charge and he's leaving. Well, wait, hold it. Just give me a sentence or two. What changed your mind?
Yeah.
Did the Redeemer come down? As Joe said in one of his speeches, well, if God comes down and tells you, well, did that happen? Do you have video of it? Did Jesus come in? I'm sorry for the Christian reference, but did tell you to get out?
Yeah.
No, we don't get any of that. All we get is, I'm the greatest president, and we're going to carry on because Kamala is going to be just as great as I am. And then you cut to the media, cut to the press. Now, to his credit, Chris Cuomo let me go 5 minutes on this on News Nation last night. But every other cable analysis didn't mention that Joe Biden said he did such a bang-up job. Oh, we did a great job. 70% of the American people feel the country is on the wrong track. 70. So, Joe, if you did such a great job, why are 7 out of 10 Americans pessimistic about their own country? Joe, is that a complicated question or analysis? Is it?
Nope.
No. But all you get is Van Jones crying on CNN, oh, he's the greatest guy! oh. And then on MSNBC, that's right, he was a great, and Kamala is even better, and he is. Those policies, and 70% Americans go, what? We can't even go and meet our bills. We have no money in the bank because your inflationary policies have drained our take-home pay. We got 12 million unattended foreign nationals running around the country. This is good? So it's the media that's the problem. Yes, 81 million Americans voted for Joe Biden.
Maybe.
Yes, maybe. Okay. Well, let's say it's 80,780,000.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot. So now we go into Biden-Kamala Part 2, where she will race around the country telling everyone how great the Biden administration was.
And on top of that, and here's what we'll take our first break and spend a lot of time with you coming back after this, she's going to tell us how great the Biden administration was, which is, as you just pointed out, complete nonsense, and 70% of Americans know that's not true. And then she's going to tell us, based upon her VP record, how great she's going to be. Oh, it's going to be great. Bill O'Reilly's coming back with more on Biden, Harris, Trump, Bibi, the day that was. All of it with the great Bill O'Reilly. But after these short messages.
Crawl on the roof and then I hit the night. I should be sleeping, but tonight I just can't stay. I've given everybody so much time. Now I need a moment that's mine. Oh, light of the world is just a half a mile away. Oh, you're my best friend.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
For my friends.
77 WABC.
Could bring a fall when I'm far from home.
Billy Idol, Eyes Without a Face. 9:02 on your Thursday morning. Back with the great Bill O'Reilly. 9 p.m. weeknights, WABC, BillO'Reilly.com. And don't forget, coming out 9:10, Confronting the Presidents, which I cannot wait to read. I can't wait to read it. Every one of them, folks. All 45 from Washington to the imbecile who just spoke to us last night. I'm sorry, Bill. I want to get to Kamala. She in charge. I think she screwed up in a big way yesterday, but who cares? She went to some sorority that she went to in Indiana and blew off Bibi Netanyahu. But she should have done that because the truth is she's not pro-Israel, has not been pro-Israel, not even close. And if she went, she'd be lying. It would be good for her and a good photo op maybe for some of the Jewish voters. But the truth is she did what's in her heart, which is I don't care about Israel. But now she's running for president. So you tell me, is she off to a good start or not?
Well, I think you're right. She doesn't care about Israel, but she is meeting with Netanyahu today after Biden does. The progressive movement, of which Kamala Harris is a prisoner, just like Joe Biden was, doesn't like Israel. We all know that.
Well, I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Disagree. I think Joe Biden, and here's how I'm not going to kill him. I think Joe Biden was a prisoner. I do, because I think there are parts of Biden that are actually somewhat, what he's saying, at least saying. I believe she's a all too willing, enthusiastic participant. I don't think she's a prisoner at all. I think she's one of the leaders of that dangerous group.
Well, you have to understand something about Kamala Harris. She is a progressive. She is a socialist. And I proved that on the No Spin last night on BillO'Reilly.com. I just went down vote after vote after vote after vote. Kamala Harris is a socialist, whereas Biden was a man of no seasons. He didn't have any belief system at all. He turned on his own church. Okay? So you're right. Kamala Harris doesn't care about Israel, but if the winds are blowing in the progressive movement against Israel, That's where she's going to come down. She'll never outrightly say that because they need the Jewish vote and particularly the Hollywood money because many of the moguls out there are Jewish. So she can't alienate Spielberg and Katzenberg and Ari Emanuel out there. She can't do that.
Which she didn't do, because I'm here to tell you that it bothers me to tell you this, Bill. It saddens me. But a lot of those Jewish people you just mentioned are disgraces, and they didn't even want Bibi here. So she didn't do that. Believe it or not, those Jewish people were okay with her not going because they think Bibi is the problem and not going to help. But outside of Israel, okay, let's talk about everything else Kamala Harris believes in. Let's talk about her record. Give me something that's going to prove to me she's a worthy candidate.
I can't give you anything that's going to prove she's a worthy candidate because she's a machine candidate. This is like New York. These people that run New York City and state are machine Democratic people. They're not problem solvers. They're not people who particularly care about anything other than power. So Donald Trump is astute. He'll knock off the early California stuff, the Willie Brown stuff. That doesn't matter to the American voter. What matters is Kamala Harris's radical left way of governance. So let me give you, got a pen? Here we go. 4 years in the Senate, passes no legislation at all. Now, Barack Obama, same thing. He got elected, okay? 2 of the bills she attached herself to got to a vote. They were both defeated. So she did pretty much nothing as the senator for most powerful state in the union for 4 years. Her big deal was attaching herself to the Bernie Sanders Medicare for All bill, which would have provided socialized medicine in America. So you would get a card, and you would take that card in to a doctor or a nurse or whatever and get treated. Private health insurance companies would then go bankrupt because the government would undercut them. That's socialized medicine. It's what they have in Canada and Great Britain and many European countries. She's a big champ of that. She wanted college tuition, all colleges, not just public state schools, paid for by the government. She wants paid for home leave, child care. The list of entitlements is endless, okay? You can't pay for it. It's billions and billions. She's so radical that she would provide free health care to the migrants who have violated immigration law and are here.
She asked for that.
The government would pay their health costs.
Right. She is on record saying she believes that we should do that.
Yeah, health care is a right. And if you get here, we're going to pay your health care.
That's right.
And that would, of course, open another flood of millions of people coming here. There isn't any policy where she is not radical left. Including, mind you, putting up the money, bail for some of these people who broke the law. And she, you burned down the police headquarters in Minneapolis. Right. They arrested you for burning it down, but I want you to be bailed out, and I'm going to encourage Americans to give money to bail you out. You can burn down another police station. Right. So, but this is what Trump should do. He should be calling her dumb as a rock. He should be doing histrionics. He should just be running it down. Her big signature issue is abortion. Okay? She's the queen of abortion. Abortion, abortion, abortion. We did a search on her. She not one time in her entire life encouraged anybody to adopt a child, ever. And she's out there going, your reproductive rights this, your reproductive rights that, blah, 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 blah. She is so extreme on abortion that she would allow, as they do in New York State, an unborn child to be executed by a doctor in the womb 10 minutes before that child was
unbelievable. And Donald Trump, who's never once, despite what she keeps saying, she's a liar too. He kick it back to the states. That's what he is. Right. He's never said it. Right. He never said ban on abortion, and he's a lot more moderate in his position. No.
He does. That's not a big issue for him. He wants the states to deal with it. But just listen to the kicker on this. So New York, California, Illinois, Massachusetts, other states have no laws, no restrictions against abortion. You don't have to prove anything. You just say to the doctor, drill a hole in the baby's head. I don't want the baby. Okay? That's it. Only 3 other non-communist countries in the world have that policy. Canada, Singapore, and Holland. So you have 200 countries. Now, the communist countries, they don't care about babies. You could kill a baby when the baby's 2. They don't care about life at all. So you don't even take them to the equation. But non-communist countries, only 3.
Wow.
So that's not an extremist position that Kamala Harris holds. And not one and by the way, Kamala Harris is not going to do any interviews at all. She's going to do what Biden did. You're never going to get anybody sit across from her that's going to ask her that question. Don't you think that your position on late-term abortion is a bit extreme, madam? Because you can't defend it. Don't you think that all your entitlement spending adding up to tens of trillions of dollars over 20 years, how are you going to pay for that? The only way you can is to seize private property. That's the only way the federal government can come close to paying any of these bills that she runs around saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, you're going to pay the college tuition of every kid in the country?
Stop it.
Okay. So when you get into the seizure of private property, then you're into communism. Now, she's not a communist, all right, because that's a forcible removal of your private property. They throw you out of your house. But she's never been on the record because we searched it. She never talks about a wealth tax, but that's the only way you could do what she wants done. Now, I submit to everybody listening to me at WABC that 90% of Americans have no blanket idea what Kamala Harris wants to do. And the corporate national media hides it from them. How would they know unless they're listening to Sid and O'Reilly this morning on WABC? How would they know? So I'm running an independent news agency now, the most successful in the world at BillO'Reilly.com. I'm clanging this bell as loud as I can.
Good.
But you're not going to hear this on NBC, ABC, CNN, or any of them. They're not going to tell you this. And that's what happened in 1932. Today is the anniversary of Hitler getting 38% of the vote in Germany. And the reason he got the 38, which was his high watermark, was because the German press wouldn't tell the people what he really wanted to do. Now, I'm not comparing Hitler to Kamala Harris. I'm comparing the press, which is derelict, doesn't care. And the question then becomes, why doesn't it care? Why wouldn't a Comcast or an NBC News or Disney, ABC, do you want your corporation decimated by Kamala Harris who will go in and tax your profits at a tune of 40%? And, of course, they'll say, no, we don't want that. But silently, they'll go, we'll pass it along to our consumers. That's what they'll do. So the socialist mindset, and I'm sorry to give everybody a civics lesson, but I have to, is to basically seize power with the help of the media. We have that here now, and the folks have no idea how extreme they are, and Kamala Harris is example number 1.
Bill, what can I say? That was tremendous, really, very educational. You're right. Folks will not know any of this unless they're listening to you and I or you here or your website. Really, that was a very, 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 very important segment this morning. I love you. That's why the ratings are so good when you're on. Thank you for that great piece of information, that great segment. We'll do it again very, very soon, pal. Love you. Thank you.
Okay, Sid. Thanks for having me.
That's a heck of a job, Bill O'Reilly. Heck of a job, folks. Check him out, 9 p.m. weeknights, Bill O'Reilly, BillO'Reilly.com. And he's right. You're never going to hear that anyplace else. Thank you, Bill O'Reilly. I'll be back with hour number 4 right after this.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
I must have dreamed
Great song right here, Genesis, Phil Collins. Been a tremendous show. Norm Coleman, Curtis Sliwa, Peter King, Caitlin Sinclair, and Bill O'Reilly. But this guy I love. I got about 8 minutes I want to spend here with New York Post columnist Michael Goodwin. His latest story, Kamala Harris puts the lie in allies when it comes to supporting Israel. And I read this a couple of days ago, Mike, and I just said to Bill, she could have shown up yesterday and sat behind the speaker and been phony about it like Tlaib and the rest of those Democrats were. Or she could have done what's in her heart, which is, I'm going to go spend time with some sorority nonsense in Indiana because, really, I don't care about Israel or the Jewish people and shove it up Bibi's butt. So I think what she did yesterday, what she did was what's really in her heart. Is that fair to say?
I think so, Sid. There's no other way to explain this. This date was not sprung on her, and even assuming she had this prior engagement, I mean, that's why God made Zoom. Right? You could have done both in the same day.
Well, you cancel a stupid sorority appearance for the Prime Minister of our biggest ally.
The question is one of priorities, right? So you can do both, but you must do the big one. You must do the meeting with, as you say, Netanyahu, because for her it's not just the speech. There also would be private time about the policies, because she probably has not been as engaged as she would be if she were president or even wants to be president. So this is a time to broaden the relationship, to deepen the understanding, to learn new things, maybe to convey new things. But to skip it all together, I think, just tells you all you need to know about her. As you say, she doesn't really care about this.
No.
I mean, she cares about it to the extent that she doesn't like Israel. And she is, basically with those protesters. I mean, did she denounce the protesters?
Nobody in that party did. And I'll tell you something else. It's even worse. Not only does she not care about Israel, but she wants to so much appease the Tlaibs, the Omars, the AOCs, those protesters, that, today she is meeting with Bibi. And that's going to be the media's deal. Whoa, she is meeting. Yes, she's meeting behind closed doors. There'll be no pictures. But she never wanted a picture in a public forum with Bibi to upset those low-life Democrats who hate the Jews. So she's meeting with Bibi today. So what?
Well, also, I think we have to look at the record, which is what I tried to do in that column. So when you go back and, just from October 7th till now, you and I have talked a lot about Biden and his wavering hot and cold relationship with Israel, and always wanting Israel to pull back. Much is the same way he does with Ukraine, without understanding, without recognizing that the issue is different, that Iran wants to destroy Israel. And you cannot keep trying to just keep the war going or do a little bit, because you're just perpetuating this problem of Hamas and all of these terror groups. But when you look at that record, whatever Biden said and did during that period from October 7th to now, she was always more radical. The things that she said on her own, even if they were scripted, were further out on the edge than anything anyone else in the administration was saying.
Agreed.
And so you have to assume that there was, for example, she's talking about potential war crimes back in December and then again in March. She's talking about the catastrophe. Now, we're telling the Israelis. I mean, it's very much separating herself from Netanyahu and from Israel. And yes, there's a lot of that with the Democrats hating Netanyahu. It goes back to Bill Clinton, certainly Barack Obama. Joe Biden continues that. But this is a war where they're trying to end Israel's existence. Yep. That's the enemy here. It's not your political differences with what, in effect, is a conservative government in Israel. It is your job to help our ally beat back this threat to its existence. And she has been absent this entire time on that score. It's only criticism, criticism, criticism. Oh, yes, Israel has a right to defend itself. Criticism, criticism, criticism. That's been the bell she keeps ringing.
Yes.
And she rang it very loudly yesterday by not being in town.
Let me take it a step further. It's not just about Israel's existence. I know you know this. It's about our existence. One thing that Bibi did, I thought, so well yesterday was continue to make the point. They're coming for Israel first, then you. They are a week away, according to Blinken, who I can't stand, but he's being honest, from a nuclear bomb that can hit San Francisco or Charlotte very, very quickly, okay? Israel's the appetizer. We're the entree. He made the point. I'm keeping American boots off the ground. We're fighting a war keeping you safe. So at the very least, this Harris, at the very least, she could hate the Jews. She could hate Israel. How about showing some appreciation for what Netanyahu and Israel does for us?
Yes, I think that's a really good point, and that has been the point. I must say, Netanyahu has been making that point for years, right? When Israel obtained, let's say, the nuclear plans from Iran, and he came to Congress, right? Obama didn't want to hear it. Obama has never wanted to hear it, and neither has Biden, because Obama believed, and Biden, like a little puppy, has just followed along, that the way to calm Iran was to bring it back into the world of nations. Let's be a trading partner. Join the, you'll benefit from being part of the global economy. All of that rubbish. And he never understood what Henry Kissinger understood 3 decades earlier, which is Iran has to decide, is it a country or a cause? And it's still a cause. It's not a country. It's a cause. It doesn't care about its own people. It brutalizes its own people. It spends whatever money it has on these terror organizations. And of course, the mullahs all live like kings. But it is very much a cause, and the cause being the elimination of the non-Islamic world.
Yep.
And I mean, so the reference to Israel as the little Satan and America is the great Satan, that's not just a cute little thing to say. That's the goal.
Exactly right. So in the final 60 seconds, this is I think the best writer in the country. I mean that. New York Post columnist Michael Goodwin. I mean that sincerely. Look, Biden was half dead, and it was over. I actually thought Trump was going to kill Biden. I don't think I did. I don't think he's going to kill her. And not because she's a better candidate. In fact, I think she's a worse candidate. But she checks those two very important boxes, black and female. And this party, this Democrat Party, as I said yesterday, will have her now as Martin Luther King with the female anatomy. They made her into this unbelievable person when the truth is she's been a failure at just about every political position, including Attorney General. Do you agree in the final 60 seconds, not based on merit, but based on DEI, that she becomes a much more dangerous competitor than Joe Biden?
Yes, in the sense that she is a symbol, right? I mean, that's the DEI, I think, code, that she's a symbol of something. It's not about her. It's like it's women and it's non-whites. Right? That's what she's symbolic of here in her supporters. So it's not about her policies. It's not about her competency or anything like that, or how she got to these positions. It's that she has become a symbol. And it's very difficult to run against the symbol. And I think Donald Trump's challenge here will be to keep bringing it back to her as a person, as a politician.
And her policies.
Yes, her record and her policies, and to take her off the pedestal, not by smashing the pedestal, but he's got to use facts. He's got to use logic. He's got to show people what a Harris presidency would look like, what policy she's favored. Just as we're talking about Israel, her policy on Israel would be more dovish toward Iran than probably even Biden's, which is hard to do, but she would do it. The same thing for other issues. Where would she be on the economy? Where would she be on the border? Where would she be on taxes? Where would she be on, the transgender nonsense? So all these things, and I think he's got to do it, and others have to do it too. J.D. Vance has to do it in ways that strike people's head as well as their heart. Otherwise, if this symbolism, which of course the media will create for her, they're already doing it, right? Oh, she wasn't the border czar. Who gave her that job? The media will elevate her to this symbolic figure, and that is how she could possibly win.
Mike, perfect. That is a perfect appearance. I mean that. So your last column was great. Can't wait to read the next one, and can't wait to talk to you again on this show next week. Great job. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, Sid. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you, buddy. Michael Goodwin, New York Post. It is 9:31. Another market had a rough day yesterday. I mean, a lot going on, obviously. Let's get our opening bell, New York Stock Exchange with Noam Laden.
This is the WABC Opening Bell Report. Fewer Americans filing first-time jobless claims. Labor Department says it received 235,000 requests for unemployment benefits in the week ending July 20th. That's down 10,000 from the previous week's total. U.S. economy grew in the second quarter of 2024. Gross domestic product, value of goods and services produced, was up 2.8%. That's more than analysts expected, who predicted a growth rate of around 2%. Elon Musk is hoping for a better day today. He lost $16 billion on Wednesday after shares in Tesla just collapsed, causing the CEO's net worth to plummet from $249 billion to $232 billion. Don't worry, though. Musk is still the world's richest person. Let's look at the markets, which just have opened. And as Sid said, it was a bad day yesterday. But right now, the Dow is up 67 points. I'm Noam Laden with the Opening Bell Report on 77 WABC.
Entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in brokering the historic Abraham Accords. Like Americans, Israelis were relieved that President Trump emerged safe and sound from that dastardly attack on him, dastardly attack on American democracy. There is no room for political violence in democracies. I also want to thank President Trump for all the things he did for Israel, from recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, to confronting Iran's aggression, to recognizing Jerusalem as our capital and moving the American embassy there.
I saw the cat at my door, so I came into you, sweet lady.
Bibi Netanyahu thanking President Trump yesterday. My favorite part of the speech, as well as all the America-Israel united talk and how we have this common enemy who wants to kill all of us in Iran. But, of course, it didn't matter because Nancy Pelosi thought it was the worst speech she ever heard. She actually wrote that as the worst speech I've ever seen. Can't believe it. No, that's what she's worried about.
Right.
Yeah, worst speech. Yeah. And then you have Tlaib sitting there with her paddle, that red war criminal, and that disgusting, despicable pig. And then you had these people outside the People's House in D.C. destroying the place. Literally. Love Hamas. Hamas is coming.
in red with hearts, burning American flags, taking down the American flags and replacing them with Palestinian flags. But no, folks, it's a good cause. It's a good cause. The First Amendment, it's all good. And I know people get upset with me when I say this, but I don't care. I'm going to keep saying it. I don't care if you get upset. Not everything about our Constitution, not everything about our country is perfect. It's not. It's just not. It's as good as it gets. Far and away the best country in the world. There's no one even close. I'm the first to say that. But not everything is perfect, including the Constitution. If you think the Constitution is perfect, then you're living 200 years ago. We even added a wild card team in baseball. Things change. The fact that these people are allowed to walk around our cities under the guise of the First Amendment with masks over their faces, screaming death to Israel, death to America. Some of them get violent. Many more should be arrested than actually are. It's not a good thing in any way. Not in any way. No. Well, Sid, maybe you're not a good thing. Listen to what you say every day. You like Trump, and Trump hates this country. Right. You're right. Good comparison. You got me. Okay, guilty. Dumb bastards. No, it's not good. Those people should not be allowed to do what they do. They shouldn't be allowed. You burn a flag. First of all, the cop at that point should be allowed to kick your ass right there in the street. And if not him, then other civilians. And then you go to jail. Tired of it. I am tired of it. That was disgraceful yesterday. Again, you don't like Bibi. I get it. You're a Jew hater. You're an anti-Semite. There's no other way to put it. Maybe you're worried about votes in Michigan or Minnesota. That's equally as gross. It was a wonderful speech yesterday. Wonderful speech.
I just said to Justin, can you think, and I bet I'm 100%, I feel it, can you think of a tougher place to be the world leader of?
No.
No, on the planet.
No.
A tougher place.
I can't.
Before all the scrutiny.
You know what the second toughest place may be?
Here.
New York City.
Okay.
But you want to compare Eric Adams when he speaks to Bibi? I mean, I was cheering yesterday. I was jumping up and down like Phil Simms just threw a touchdown pass to Mark Bavaro. I swear to you. That's a leader. He was bipartisan. He gave credit to Biden. He didn't have to do that. He shouldn't have done that, but he did it. No matter. Democrats are complaining about Bibi. I know I have family members and friends, family members who said he shouldn't have been here. Are you nuts? He shouldn't have been here. He is the strongest leader in the world today, now that Trump is out of business.
Yeah, because he's constantly getting tested.
Every day.
And constantly under this pressure.
That's right.
What he's got with lives that are hanging the balance.
And they blame him,
time.
like the hostage parents. It's not fair. I love Rachel Goldberg. She's been on this show 3 times. Believe me, Bibi wants Hirsch to come home. So do I. They blame him. It's ridiculous. What do you want from him? He doesn't have them. Hamas has them. If Bibi Netanyahu had your kids, they'd be home. He's trying to kill these bastards and save your children at the same time, and you're sitting there in your plush office in Washington, D.C., yelling and screaming about him. It is ridiculous, the amount of criticism this guy gets. You want to go at him because he blew it October the 7th? Fine. He blew it. You want to fire him when it's all said and done because of that? Fine, fire him. I can't argue any of that. But for all of you people to sit there on your couch in your house and criticize him.
Pass judgment.
He's got to win a war, get the hostages home. Give me a break. I understand Rachel Goldberg. I get it. If it was my son or my daughter, I'd be the same way. But the rest of you people, you're a disgrace. Jewish people in this city are some of the worst people in the world. I mean that. I swear. I don't kill anybody. I'm not going to kill you. So maybe I'll take that back. Not the worst people in the world, but some of the most selfish, stupid son of a bitches God ever created. How about that? And with that said, I'm done. For Lou Rufino, Justin Ellick, and of course Noam Layden. Until tomorrow, folks. Peace!
Closing time. One last call for alcohol. So finish your whiskey or beer. Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay. here.